All right, everyone. Welcome to the live well this Thursday night here at Fish North Georgia. We are so glad you are joining us for a couple hours to talk about some fishing and what all is going on with the water. I got my buddies Dave and Father Time Kevin right beside me. We got Tim in the professional attire back there. Put it on you, Tim. Tim wore a collar tonight. Look at that.
I do. I'm looking all spiffy.
Tim's back there with Clarice having a good old time and everything like that. So,
Tonetta.
huh?
Tonetta.
Tonetta? Is that what you call her? Clarice is that's what I'm gonna call
Depends
her.
on what Tony does. If Tony says anything else silly in the comments, she'll be Tonetta.
But guys, listen, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, click the notification bell, and follow Fish North Georgia FNG on all social media platforms. We sure would appreciate it. And the more you guys give us thumbs up, and the more you comment, the better it helps us according to these algorithm things that we talk about all the time that I can't figure out. So you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
You ready to do this? So what we're going to talk about tonight, look, the bass right now are either pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn. We don't know what in the heck they're doing, if being honest with you. Some guys are throwing topwater over them. Some guys are going down on the bed. Guys like Kevin, they're going to go around them and all that. So really, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. So, and you guys bring it in the comment section, and we're just going to have a good night of discussion about fishing in Georgia tonight. Sound good? All right, let's take care of our sponsors here. Of course, we start off with the guys over at Sonar Pros, Trent Palmer and the guys. 770-530-4505, the official sonar installer of the live well. Take your boat with the pros, take theirs, and get it done right the first time. That's Trent and the guys off Highway 369 again, 770-530-4505. And then we've got our buddy Kevin Underwood, who will be in studio next Tuesday night with us with Lip Sticker Fishing. 678-459-8419, Kevin at lipstickerfishing.com, and check out his Patreon, patreon.com/lipstickerfishing, so you can watch what he's doing live on the water. And if you're wanting a guide trip, go book with him and catch some of those big Lake Lanier megalodons that he's always on. And then, of course, we got the best rod sleeve on the market. That is the Evolve Fishing Rod Sleeve, evolvefishing.com. They float. They got all these little fancy features on it, but the best thing about it is your hooks, when you throw them in your rod locker, all these crankbaits, everything, they do not get hung in them. They don't tear it up. It is the best. Absolutely. Kevin, I think you can say that. You like
Absolutely.
them. They are the best, and they're an American company. So we appreciate those. And again, of course, with all the expensive lures we got, you want the best plug knocker on the market, and that is the Money Saver Lure Retriever. Guys, people make them all the time. They make cheap ones. I'm not saying that those don't work, but I'm telling you, this thing right here is the best I've ever seen. Flying down your line to get your lure off of whatever you got it hung on. Richard Key did an absolutely fantastic job designing it. The guys that have bought some from us, they love it. You can get them here at Fish North Georgia. Just got to fully restocked on those things. So come on up and get you one. And if you're on Lake Allatoona, I'll give that thumbs up right there. Might as well give a thumb up for old Bill Payne right here. So if you're on Lake Allatoona and you want to fish with a legend, Bill Payne's Guide Service, 706-280-2305. The man knows Allatoona like the back of his hand. He can tell you what's going on there and how to catch them. He also does seasonal smallmouth trips, and he does electronic trips to get your sonars set up the right way. So, Bill Payne, we do appreciate it. Bill Payne's Guide Service. And then, of course, our buddy, Brooks Anderson on Lake Lanier. Brooks Anderson Fishing. Check out his YouTube, Brooks Anderson Fishing on YouTube. Go to his website, brooksandersonfishing.com. Spotted bass, Lake Lanier, why they're there, how to catch them. He likes really to teach and to focus on the behavior of the spotted bass, and he is going to be in studio on the 22nd. So I don't know if that's the week after, if that's that Tuesday or Thursday, but the 22nd, Brooks will be back on the show, and we can just pick his brain about Lake Lanier. And then, of course, we got our buddies, Fishers of Hope. All right. Their mission, glorify God, be servants of his word, to bring those in need to peace and hope that only he can bring. That ministry, those bass tournaments to help those in need. Check them out on Facebook. And if you need to contact them, Fishers of Hope Ministry at gmail.com. This is the 11th Saturday. Or is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the 11th.
That's tomorrow.
Saturday.
I think tomorrow is the banquet. Tony, I keep forgetting the date. They got a banquet in Blairsville. It's either the 11th or the 12th. I think it's the 11th.
I think it's the 11th.
So that's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be speaking. I guess I need to figure out which night it is.
Might ought to.
If I'm going to go up there and talk and hang out with the guys at their banquet up there in Blairsville, Georgia, and they'll be serving us barbecue, which if there's good food, I'm going. I can talk.
Oh,
I can talk for some good barbecue. And then right behind us, of course, we got our buddies over at Turner Tires, 706-253-3339. Tires and Alignment. Great family-owned business in Jasper, Georgia. It's where I get my tires. Brock and the crew do an absolute fantastic job. Get you in and out, and it's affordably priced. Check them out. So anyway, now in the comment section there. So Steven Sturgeon, hey, first time watcher. Buddy, appreciate you joining us tonight. We like those first timers.
Yeah, where are you from, Steven?
Yeah, so yeah, where are you from, Steven? So that let us know that. And Anthony Hampton, that's Mr. Digital Sportsman right there. He told me that he still wants to go. You're going to take me to Central America on the Amazon, catching some of them peacock bass. I mean, I'm begging you. Phil Hutchinson, did we get some hail? Yeah, it come a storm here a little bit. We was hoping it would knock the power out, and of course it didn't. And Farmer is with Amicalola EMC, so he says, I'm doing my best to keep the lights on for the show.
We're counting on you, buddy.
We're counting on you, Farmer, and we know where you live if you don't. So anyway, and then Atlanta Outdoors, he's jumping right into it. He's already caught some fish on Topwater, mostly on a spro popper and a lime floating worm. Interesting color with the lime. A lot of guys go with the methylator, the bubble gum, but we got somebody throwing the lime right there. And let's see down there, Eddie Hudson, Alex Purrs, Chad Carter from Rome, Georgia. There you go. Appreciate you joining us tonight. And of course, our buddy in Oklahoma.
He could have rode with me.
Huh?
He could have rode up with me.
You should have come on up there. So, and Far Dogs here from Oklahoma, Adam W. Fishing. All you guys, I see Fred Ashcraft down there at the very bottom. And Central Illinois. Well, hell yeah. We won't call you a Yankee because I tell you what, Illinois has got some fantastic deer hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to just have a lease up there. I've been up there a few times, but appreciate you joining us tonight. James Ramsey, good evening from the ice wall. Brad Silvers, Tristan Wiggins, gonna try the shaky head. Thanks for the help today. Tristan, hey, I tell you what, you can't go wrong with a shaky head this time of year.
Mm-mm.
And John G, did you see that picture of John G put on there with the gator?
Yeah.
If I'm in a kayak and there's an alligator that close to me, I don't care what he says. I'm gonna give that big old lizard its space.
Should.
Yeah, them things eat you.
They will.
I don't want to be like, here lies Danny. He got ate by a gator because he was an idiot, decided to go up there and pet the thing. Not doing that. So David Weaver, you ever appreciate you doing this. You ever messed with a gator in the water?
I've caught one before down in Okeechobee, but
Was it
I
big?
say I caught one. He broke off. Yeah, but I fought him for a long time.
Did you really?
Yeah, a little old 5-footer.
Little old 5-footer.
Oh, they're
I'm
big.
listen, I'm only 5'7", and I'm about 210. So
when that lake is down, you can't imagine the number of gators that are in that lake.
oh, I could
Hard to
imagine
believe.
it.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Hey, did they have all them iguanas down there when you were down there?
They weren't down there when I was there. No, when I lived down that way, no.
I think iguana hunting would be pretty fun too. What do they hunt iguanas with?
It's still a damn lizard, and I don't like lizards when they're 6 inches long, let alone
Me
3
either.
feet long.
Yeah, I'm not a
pellet
big fan.
guns.
Pellet guns?
That are labs. They'll take the dogs. A lot of times you'll see them go down the boat. The dogs bail out and go catch them.
But or either be down there when it freezes and watch them fall out of the trees. I think
It
that
doesn't freeze enough down there.
No.
it gets cold. So Warren Barnes, good evening. All right, so let's get into the talking. Oh, Anthony caught and landed a 5.5 footer in South Georgia. In a South Georgia farm pond.
Mm-hmm.
KJ.
Hey, Anthony, I'm curious, did you eat the thing? Because that's about the limit you want for them to taste good, right? Once you get these guys catching them big 12-footers, that meat's got to be a little bit tough.
I don't know. They
You like
eat 'em.
gator? I mean, you're a Cajun. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've eaten gator. I had
Oh,
too.
yeah. We
Um,
caught
How do you
them and ate
lip
them.
them things?
huh? How do you what?
How do you lip those things?
You don't. You don't. You got that 20,
Carefully.
22?
Very
That
careful.
falls under the toothy critter rule. Don't touchy.
Yeah, I mean, like right between the eyes, 22. That's how
Exactly.
you do that. David Weaver says, when we were young and I was at Fort Stewart, we would catch up to 3 feet by hand in the ditches. Oh, hell no. No, not me. Anthony said, no, I had to get my Rico back. Yeah, Farmer caught one down there where a year or two ago he was fishing. I forget what he was throwing. He caught a gator. Them little small ones I deal with, but my luck, it'd be that. You remember that video where the guy's fighting one in his kayak, and all of a sudden when he pulls it up, the head looked like Godzilla, that big one, and he just dropped that thing and started paddling backwards.
He did the right thing.
That would be me. 100% that would be me. So anyway, all right, let's kind of set the table. Seen about 20 boats on the Savannah River today. 2 boats had little kids. Good to see. Absolutely. Tim's got some company back there. Yeah, we put him and Clarice in the room together back there. I just thought they made a nice power couple.
Yeah, power
back
couple.
there. Power couple. So she's going to hang out with him during the show today. So I fished a tournament on Latham, and then we talked the other day. We've talked about bed fishing. A lot of bass have moved up. Spawn's going hot and heavy in some places. In other places, it hasn't started yet. And in some places, it seems like it's finished. So right now, it's just the bass are all over the place. And you can catch them however you want to catch them. And I put Topwater in the description because some guys were talking about throwing Topwater already, and a lot of people think post spawn with Topwater. And we got to talking before the show when we had the TAA. It was David Williamson.
I believe so.
David Williamson on Lake Lanier. They were all catching bed and bass, but he was doing it a little bit different. He was throwing a buzz bait coming across the top of that.
Right.
So now let me ask you this, because I know, Kevin, you're against as much as possible. You don't like the bed fish. You won't do it.
I don't.
But is there a difference in seeing a bedded bass on bed and throwing a buzz bait over the top of it as opposed to try to doodling it with a worm? Do you
If
see a little bit of
that-
difference?
If you see that fish on bed, what difference is it?
I'm just asking.
No, there's no difference.
Okay, no difference to you. All right. Well, unfortunately, in my tournament Saturday, we weren't catching anything, and all I saw was bedded fish. But what was weird was, and I was telling the guys, they were just all bucks. And I think I mentioned it. On Tuesday night show. It was just all bucks. So it was weird. Had a few guys come in today, said, "Oh no, they're locked and loaded on this lake, on that." And I'm like, it's just weird. And Dave, you can talk to this, how it's different from lake to lake.
Yeah, it really depends on like I said, water temperature, water clarity, length of day. But it's weird because it's gotten so warm so fast.
Yeah.
Around here, it's been warm. I'm sure. I'm going to Lanier on Saturday. I hadn't been there since around Thanksgiving, I guess. I got heron spawn on one side of the deck already, and I got spawning stuff on the other. Because with it getting this warm this fast, there's no telling what's going on. I actually ran into a shad spawn on Gunnersville I fished for about 2 hours on Thursday after the Red Crest guys pulled off, and I ran into a shad spawn that day. Was catching schooling fish, and it was what it was. It was a shad spawn.
Shad spawn. So that's one of the things I asked Underwood if he would come on Tuesday night to talk about the heron spawn and the shad spawns, and we'll do a deep dive in that, because that's some things, that's something I don't exactly understand, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint, because to me that would seem kind of early that you've seen it already.
It is, but like I've run into it several times on Lanier. Since I've been in Georgia, the best week typically for me on Lanier has been Masters week. I think the Masters is playing this week.
Yeah.
That's usually when I found it to be the best. But about 2 or 3 of those years of my 6, it's been a heron spawn and a bass spawn
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah. I screwed up. That's old Anthony Hampton from Daggum Lake, Allatoona. I was thinking it was Anthony Hamilton, the DS, my DS boss.
No, that's
That's Hampton.
That's half of
Good
Barney
Lord. That's too much pregame.
Hampton team.
Too much. But we still love you, Anthony Hampton. I just thought you were Anthony Hamilton with DS, and you would be the one to take me to
He's
Central
still
America.
special.
Huh?
He's still special.
He's special. But he
Anthony,
ain't
you're
special.
still special. I don't care what Danny says.
He is special, but he's not as special as my DS guy.
No, not at all.
That DS guy writes checks too. So, but yeah. Anyway, Anthony, when he said he was on Lanier today, I'm like, wait a
Hey,
second.
wait a minute.
Yeah. So saw a few on Lanier spawning today, and that's the thing. And we all have talked about it so many times that the bass come up in waves. So not every bass goes on bed at the same time. So that's why you've got some pre-spawners that haven't moved up yet. You got those that are locked on, and you got those that have done it. Because who was it? Somebody, it might have been Tony, showed me a picture of a bass he caught over the weekend, and you could tell that bass, you know how a post-spawn largemouth looks? The body's just slim. It looks like it hasn't eaten in months.
It's like somebody let the air out of it. Yeah,
and
just
it was
deflated.
100%. That's what it looked like. Just
Yeah, we
skinny
saw
as a.
some Saturday on Sinclair that were like that.
Yeah. How did your tournament go down there?
It went good.
Did it go
Yeah,
good?
we lost 2 fish that would have put us in the money for sure. Put us around the 20-pound mark, but that's life.
What were you catching them on things outside of bed fishing? Because I know you don't like to do that. I mean, what were you catching? Spinnerbait?
Wacky worm, shaky head,
Yeah.
mostly spinnerbait.
So see, that's the thing is I threw a spinnerbait and I didn't even get sniffed. So I don't know. I was really expecting it.
They were eating it pretty good.
Man, I wish they were on the lake I was at. What's up, Tony, right there? So pull up my buddy from Illinois there against Steven. Full moon now, so shad spawn should be going. It should. You know what else ought to be kicking up right now? Brim. your bluegills. Now I think it's heavier in May
It's way heavier
and
in
June,
May.
but I think that first wave of bluegill could be up, moving on the beds and all that. I know a lot of guys are buying worms going after the shell cracker right now, so we'll see how that goes. But that affects fishing too,
Big time.
big time. Because if especially largemouth, and I know spots eat them too, but if you're on a good largemouth lake and you got the brim on bed, it's almost like using forward facing. You know, right there they should be there around there just because of that.
Yeah.
Did you see any of that down there? You saw some brim beds. Look at him smiling at me.
I didn't see the brim beds. I saw the bass chasing the brim off the
Chaz,
beds.
you saw him
So I
doing
know
that?
they're moving in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that time. It's that time. So, Chad Carter. Interesting, because now we're going off what Georgia Bassmaster said the other day. I've caught several on a black buzzbait already with a toad on the back. Aggressive blow up. I'm on Weiss, though, and not seeing many beds there with that watercolor.
No, you're
Now,
not.
you're not. That is the one thing. And when we went to the back part of Latham, that's the stain part back there. And you couldn't see them, especially the sun had to be shining bright and the wind had to die down because it was so muddy. Well, it really wasn't muddy, but it's stained back there. James F. out on Lanier today saw no spawning fish in the back of protected pockets. So we got one guy seen them. And see, like it changes late to late. One guy on Lanier seen some, one guy on Lanier didn't see any, which makes it just, you cannot predict it. Tim Hancock. Well, what's going on, old timer? I'm glad you're joining us tonight. Allatoona came up 5 feet behind the last drain, about 6 inches over summer pool now. Clear water around mid lake, 61 degrees. Yeah, you know what? So we EBO fished over there about a month ago, and it was 7 foot down. It had already gotten a full pool from the rains, and they drew it back down, and now it's back up. So that's crazy about that lake too, just how much that water can fluctuate. And you fish it the way you fish it, probably most of anybody here, right? Allatoona.
No, Tim fishes. it
Tim
quite a
does,
bit.
but I consider Tim my brushy branch guy like that. Do you fish it as much as Kevin does, though?
Probably.
Probably do.
Yeah, bounce back and forth.
How come you don't talk about it as much as you do brushy?
I don't know.
The secret.
Bike club?
Bike club.
Bike club. Oh, I forgot to do something.
Uh-oh.
I did not call this meeting to order.
Oh, got to call
Yeah,
it. No.
we got to call this
We gotta
meeting
go
to
wide.
order. Tonight is the first official meeting of the SAAA. Tim, what does that stand for?
That is the Semi-Amateur Anglers Association.
That's right. We are Semi-Amateur Angler Association. Now, for a nominal fee of $4.99 a month, you too can join the SAAA and help us to get over our semi-amateur status to where we're just amateur.
Exactly.
We want to move up to Amateur Angler
Let's move up the
Association.
ladder a little bit.
AAA. We could do that. So anyway, he said that today, and I thought that was funny because we were like, we are semi-amateur.
What are we trying to gain with $4.99 a month? What's the target? What's the goal?
What's the
Cash.
goal?
Yeah,
Hell, I don't know.
Beer
What-
money.
What does Bass do with that money? You
it's
have
going
to
to take
send
a
it-
long time for some of us.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
You'll get rich.
Listen, just $4.99 sounded like a nice round number.
It did. $4.99
You
a
know,
month.
so definitely right there. Tim said he spent most of the time trying to break in the new motor back on the trailer by 10 a.m. I got you. Well, I'm glad you're out on the water, buddy. Fred Ashcraft. Do y'all have shell bars on Lake Lanier like a river? Not that I'm aware of.
Not really, but it's a lot of that stuff out there. You can find some stuff that's got hard bottom on it,
Yeah, we got hard bottom.
but it's not like Gunnersville or Chickamauga or
yeah.
none of those.
No shell bars like that. KJ, appreciate you joining us tonight. Fished the south end of Lanier today and caught at least 20 plus fish. Caught some of the biggest fish on wake baits. Back kind of the top water. Now, I imagine, KJ, let us know, were you offshore? I just want to know if you were beating the bank with those or you're out over brush doing that. That would kind of help us figure out that. Tony Collins says, heck yeah, the SAAA. So we got bike club. Now, to get in the bike club, you got to earn your way in the bike club.
Yeah.
Because we don't talk about bike club.
Right.
So that's invite only, right?
Right.
You got to be invite.
And if we do talk about bike club, we're probably lying at any given
That's
time
right.
of whatever
So-
we tell you. So
Yeah.
just keep that in
Amen.
mind.
Amen. So we don't talk about bike club. Somebody in the comment section or somebody's going to listen to this bunch of gatekeepers. They're going to fuss at us for doing that, which I didn't know what gatekeeper meant till about a year ago. I didn't know that was withholding information.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I did.
You did?
I have a 14-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I ain't going to tell you what.
There's a lot of new terminology that us older folks don't understand.
100%. And some of it we don't need to understand, if I'm being honest with you. So David Weaver, really bad storms coming in next 15 to 30 minutes. Yes, we actually had some hail here at the shop about an hour?
Roughly an hour ago.
About an hour ago. 1 inch of rain equals 1 foot of depth on Allatoona. Very interesting. Must be a lot of water. And it's so shallow anyway, but it must be a lot of water running into that lake.
That lake isn't shallow.
It's narrow.
Yeah, narrow might be the better way.
Yeah, it's
145 feet
narrow.
deep, I believe. The deepest.
Right there at the dam?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. But wouldn't you think most part, well, it's mostly a river anyway.
Yeah.
It said something like, how does
It's just
Gunnersville
not
fluctuate?
wide.
How much? What's that?
How does Gunnersville fluctuate with heavy rain? Just out of curiosity.
It depends. I mean, I've seen it up from Winter Pool about 2 feet, but they can turn that sucker on and have it. You know, you go to bed and you're back at Winter Pool the next morning. They can churn some water through that river system.
Yeah, I bet they can.
I mean, like big time.
Do they turn all the dams? Do they work all the dams in conjunction together? When they do that?
No, because when we were there for Red Crest, it actually on Sunday, my end of the lake was up 1.5 feet. I went to bed at 10 o'clock on Saturday night and it wasn't raining. I woke up at 5:30 and I got home about 7:30. So in 7 hours, it'd come up 1.5 feet on the south end. So they were holding water on the south end and pulling it from Nickajack in.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then they'll release and, you know, it's just kind of keep going.
I got you there, Tim.
Yeah, but
I got you there.
did you see our little program when Dave did something? It gave a thumbs down.
Somebody gave
No, one of his hand gestures caused the little bubbles to come out with the hands down.
Quit giving us thumbs down, dude.
We'll be able to see it.
I commented on Tuesday night and I got a thumbs down. I'm like, what did I just say?
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, it was the little program that does the thumbs up thing. It did a one down on him. I'm like, okay, it
They
just came out of
just don't
nowhere.
like Dave.
They
Yeah.
don't like me. That's
Hey,
all.
also too, if the Braves start playing, you guys keep me up to score with the up to date with the score. I would appreciate that when we're talking fishing. Yeah, I didn't know what no cap meant either. So, yeah, did you know that?
What?
No cap. You hear these young kids go, no cap. I
Oh.
mean, it's not like no lie, no shit.
Well, Ghostbusters was the gatekeeper.
That was our
Watching the
gatekeeper.
movie.
That was
Yeah.
our gatekeeper. Yeah, but now it's like if you know something
You don't say it.
and you don't say nothing, you're gatekeeping,
Yeah.
which is stupid. What's up, Mike? He wanted to know if we got that hail after I left. Yes, we got the hail here
Yeah, we did.
for about a minute, 2 minutes. It come a pretty good little hailstorm.
Yeah, he should have took it with him.
Yeah, you should have took it with him for sure, but it hit quick. So anyway, okay, we had somebody talking about throwing a buzz bait, and I mentioned Williamson. Listen to that going down the road, throwing a buzz bait and all that. Topwater for you right now. It's never too early to talk about Topwater. Braves 1-1, top of the fifth. Appreciate it, Anthony. What kind of Topwater are you throwing? And I think, well, let's start with Tim and Clarice back there. Tim, if you're throwing Topwater right now, it's mid-April, actually almost mid-April.
Yeah.
Cool week, highs in the 60s. We had a couple warm weeks, so water temps are around 62 to 65 some places,
Yeah.
maybe a little cooler. What are you throwing?
Buzzbait.
Buzz bait.
Mhm.
Now, the other night,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about buzz bait with Rob.
Yeah.
What color you throwing? And are you only throwing it on overcast days?
No, it'd be black, but I don't. The overcast doesn't matter to me.
So you'll throw it on sunny days?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Like that. All right, Dave, what are you throwing Topwater now? Hey, and would that be the only thing you throw?
Probably.
So like all day or just whatever? You're not going to
Probably
the walking baits?
buzzbait. Maybe a Spro E-Pop if I wanted a popper.
Okay. All right, good answer. That worked. What about you?
Buzzbait, walking bait,
What kind?
either a gunfish or the sexy dog, and a plopper.
And God dang it.
Dave's got a look. See, he's got that bike club look. Look at
And a
him.
plopper.
See,
He does. He,
He
does.
does.
That.
Did
If I'm
you-
not on
did you
Lanier, I'm
see
gonna throw a plopper.
Anywhere but Lanier.
Yeah, it's gonna be a walking bait or a buzz bait.
So
on
like when
Lanier.
you get to the gunfish and the sexy dog and that stuff, you're talking more like Lanier Allatoona style.
Yeah, but I'm not working as hard as I work it in June.
Okay.
I'm just it's over the top of them, either clear or chrome, and I'm just trying to keep it closer to them for a
Right.
little bit longer versus, it going crazy.
But if you
like
were on
we do.
Gunnersville, what would you throw?
A plopper. If I can throw it on Gunnersville, I like a plopper, but I also like a buzz bait.
Okay. So, but you want a lot of noise on those.
Right. But I don't. I throw white. Like Lanier is always white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With swim bait.
That's like the reason I said the Spro E-Pop is you can pop it and it will walk.
It will,
So you've got two choices there with that bait.
for sure, 100%. All right, you
Buzzbait,
buzzbait.
white if it's bright, and black if it's overcast.
Okay, so I mean,
And I'll throw it all day if I need to.
I was watching some of the elites were throwing topwater today.
Yeah, frogs and
Frogs and
ploppers
stuff.
and
That might be dictated by the type of water they were fishing.
yeah, they were skinny.
Yeah, they was do that. David Weaver, right there. My brother fished at Bethel Park and caught a 4 on a Spook Junior bone color before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. So, and then Farmer says the horny toad is playing bunch of fish suspended under dock floats. Buzzbait first thing once the sun comes up, a horny toad. Switching over to the horny toad. And it's about that time of year. And if you're like Ryan, it's got to be white.
Mm-hmm. It's the only color they make,
Yeah, for sure.
according to him.
Warren, it is right.
Yeah.
I know it. There ain't but one color horny toad. It's white.
It's white.
Warren Barnes. I started to use the whopper plopper and a gunfish this time of April. He starts using those two right now. So, okay, makes sense. And then
Everybody's
John Barry.
coming on the same genre.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
that plops or buzzes, and then
Yeah.
something that walks or pops.
but we got to talk to our next comment right here, John Barry.
Yeah, we do.
We got to talk to you, son.
John,
Hellraiser.
we'll make you a good deal.
Yeah, I can listen, John. Listen, I got a bunch of Hellraisers here at the shop that I can't sell them. I'll cut you a deal if you want some of them. But it is interesting. It's kind of like that. Like, I can't stand that thing. But at the same time, I probably do not give it the time.
You don't want anybody to see you.
I don't
Be
want-
honest.
Well, no, that's the plopper.
No cap.
No cap. No cap. No cap. But, no, it's the plopper that I don't want nobody seeing me throw. But the Hellraiser is it's just so different. But it does give you that walk the dog and kind of a reverse buzz bait, chatterbait kind of thing. I've just never heard anybody having a lot of success on it. And I know I haven't. So, John, in the comment section right there, tell us where you're throwing a Hellraiser, what color you're throwing.
Or you pulling their leg.
Or are you pulling our leg? He might be like, I know Danny don't like that bait, so it might be that. Farmer up there says he's a gatekeeper, which is a bunch of crap, because David Weaver says, Farmer, you share a lot of juice with everyone, and we appreciate it. Like that for sure. Tony Hall, we fished Hartwell today and caught 15 to 20 on topwater, but their tail was close to their head, meaning not
They
very
were
big.
small.
Dinks.
What were
Dinks.
you fishing, Tony?
Yeah, Tony, what were
Yeah,
you
he
throwing
left
to
that
catch
part
those
out.
dinks? Like that. So Fred Ashcraft, the Hellraiser is BS, basically is what he's saying. LOL. But some people I guess can catch fish on them, but I just don't give it. If I were going to throw a topwater right now, I'm going buzzbait early. I do like the idea of a horny toad. I am just always an old school Zara spook guy. I've just always liked the Zara spook. I've been throwing them things since the 80s.
They're good baits.
And they still catch fish. Now, granted, the hook selection on some of them are like made to gaff things with. They got some big old hooks.
Yeah,
But
but they're
you can change
mostly open water away from the bank.
they are.
And we're looking at the bank right now.
We are, but like if I'm on
That's
a
why you're not catching any fish if you don't.
shit. But if you're on a farm pond, you get that one that looks like a frog, but they call it baby bass, but it looks like a frog. I've caught a bunch on farm ponds with that, but it's totally different fish. If you're on a big lake, you're right. You're out over brush and stuff like that. So if you're hitting the banks, I think a buzz bait is probably superior to anything. I would think, wouldn't you? Because you're throwing that gunfish and all that, like you said, offshore.
No, I'm throwing
You're throwing it shallow?
blowdowns. Yeah, I'll throw it right up on the bank.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Would we consider a fluke, a weightless fluke, or a
Seville.
weightless trick worm right now? Could we consider that top water since you're basically 1 to 2 inches?
Yeah. Seville the same way.
You consider a Seville top water?
Uh-huh.
I guess you can, because if you're burning it.
I'm not ever letting it get down real low.
Right. A lot of people on here don't. They're burning that thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as erratic as it will be come topwater season, but I'm still keeping it pretty close to the surface.
What do you?
Fluke ought to be coming into play about.
Well,
I got one tied on for
yeah.
Saturday.
I know some guys that caught some fish on a fluke. But this is normally the time of year you hear about methylate. Had a guy in here tell me today was talking about with a bubble gum. They were catching some fish, I believe, on a bubble gum colored fluke. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that works right now this time of year. I don't know what, I mean, I don't know why, what color it represents, but it does work. But you would consider that top water too. Weightless. I mean, you can let them sink. I guess it depends on how you work it.
I put a swivel. I put a pretty big swivel
About 12 inches line or so.
and about 12 inches. I just beef everything up.
Do you do that though to use the swivel to keep the nose of it down some?
Just keep the nose of it down and keep it from twisting.
Line
Slide.
twist.
Line twist.
Yeah.
That makes sense right there. All right. So Tony was throwing a chug bug on Hartwell. Man fishing. Devil horse. That gets brought up. That bait's the same thing as a spook. That thing's been catching fish for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with that. Let's see. What did John Barry say? West Point and Flint River. I'll call you for that discount. John, listen, I'll sell them to you for $9.99 a pop.
Yeah, he's wanting them Hellraisers.
Yeah, if you want Hellraisers, I'll sell anybody comes in the shop Hellraisers for $9. In fact, not even the $99. $9 a pop. You can have all you want. So I can get rid of the things. If you're out of town, message me on Facebook. We'll do something online. We'll do it that way.
You'll send them for free. Pay shipping.
Hell yeah, I'll pay. Buy enough of them jokers. I will pay for shipping because I'd like to put something in its place. Brad Silvers. I guess this is a question for you guys. When and where on the Chapo right now? And you brought it up. You talk about it. I ain't talking about it.
Coosa River, for sure. Gunnersville, West Point, any place I can get some shoreline grass. That's
Right.
kind of where I want to throw it. Shoreline grass or current. I throw the plopper.
All right,
style
look.
baits.
So he fishes, Silver's fishes Carter's Lake up here. So that's a deep, clear water reservoir.
I'm not going to say they're not going to bite it. That's probably not going to be my go-to. I'm going to want something a little more heronish, which is a walking bait or something like that.
I got you.
The spots on the Coosa River hate that thing.
You know, the only bad thing about that really is you can't work it around brush or something like that that's sticking up out of the water, or if there's any type of grass in the water laying, especially with all the wind we've had and the little curly tails from the pine trees and stuff like that.
Oh, it picks up everything.
Everything.
It fouls.
And the buzz baits, you got a little better shot at trying to get that through there.
Yeah, because your hook's a little down a little bit.
Yeah.
Makes total sense right there. Silver Punk. Pull that puppy up right there. What did he say? Okay, any tips for hickory log? I'm going to fish it for the first time Saturday. You can throw a white fluke. You can throw a weightless trick worm. You can really anything right now will catch fish. Shaky head jigs, whatever you like to fish. But if you find yourself up by the dam, it's going to have a big, long buoy thing out in the front. If you can pull yourself up to the buoy and you can bomb-ass cast something and hit the concrete of the dam, whatever you got, if you can hit it and let it sink, always fish right there. And always have your white fluke or something because they'll school over there too. So they'll get up chasing the threadfin. But I would say on hickory log, you're probably going to see a lot of them on bed. It's probably that type. Don't. I'm just telling you.
That is not a no cap.
That's no cap. That's right. Look, he's gonna run that cap tonight. He likes that word.
I got to watch the bite club, make sure we don't say too much.
That's right. Well, it's hickory log like that. So, but I'm telling you, if you can hit that dam with a bomb ass cast, because 3 weeks ago, tournament over there, my brother-in-law, I had to go to a funeral. My brother-in-law was fishing. He said, dude, we're struggling right now. I said, are you by the dam? He said, yes. I said, whatever you got, throw and hit that dam. Second cast, he hit it with an underspin with a 2.8 Kitech. He didn't even get 2 cranks in, 10.24 pound. Now, I'm not saying you're going to catch a 10-pounder there, but it worked. But anything should be working on hickory log, to be honest with you, if the weather's right. Jonah Fordesha bought a Mega Bash. Is it Karashi? Am I saying that right?
I think so.
To try out. Hey, go for it. Let us know how it works right there. Alex Purrs likes the Evergreen Shower Blow for Topwater. That's a good one. Richard Smith, I got my first cast OG in the mail. I hear it's big on Lanier.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. But I would highly recommend you pull up Cast on Facebook or Ryan Hanks on Facebook or oh, good grief. His name is slipping me. Any of those guys and watch, they put out videos on how to cast that thing and how to work it, because it is different than other topwater baits. Okay, because it's a saltwater bait. It is a little bit different. I think the last time I heard them talk about it, they were like ripping it, reeling it real quick because that thing sprays water and it'll dive and come up. It looks like you'd be working it like a spook, and I guess you can, but that's not how they're catching fish on it. But look up on Facebook, look up Ryan Hanks or Cast, and just scroll down, and eventually you'll get to a video of how to throw that thing. Because that's a bait that the guys that have it dialed in catch a lot of big spotted bass on the near. And then there's a lot of guys that can't figure it out that don't like it. It's a great bait. It's a great bait, but you got to work it a certain way. Farmer, I like a shower blow a lot, especially around the heron spawn, which that's any day now. If it ain't happening in some places, that's close. And that changes the way we fish a little bit. Tony says he takes the saltwater hooks off of spook and replaces it with triple grips. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Because they're not the sharpest hooks.
No.
They're big, though. How many fish you reckon been caught off a spook, Tim?
There's no telling.
Damn it.
I used to throw spook on Weiss when I was a kid. I mean,
Right?
I think I've still got one of them in an old tackle box. It's all beat all the heck.
Well, when I grew up, a spook and a floating Rapala, that was Topwater.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you like that? I spilled it all in my lap.
That was
Those
great.
little
Did he?
bitter bugs had them big old hooks too that are
Yeah.
just
They do.
ugly. You gotta
They
take them
do.
out.
I see OG, Alex is going to try it. Berkeley Cane Walker, Drift Walker. David Weaver said, I had a 6-pound striper try to take my pole at the boat with a fluke Sunday.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Now pull up Tim White's comment. I'm still knocking dip out of my lap over here. Bubble gum is best right after the spawn. And it is a springtime thing. I still remember the first time I ever seen a bubble gum worm. You remember you throw them?
I do.
Can you remember the first time you saw one?
We didn't have bubble gum as much as we had the methylate.
Methylate? My cousin had one, and I told this story on here. We were at Twin Lakes Trailer Park, 2 about 5-acre lakes. And he pulls out a pack of those things, and I'm like, that is the stupidest looking worm color I've ever seen. And after he had done put about 6 of them on the bank and all that, I said, give me one of those.
Looks
things.
like a big old pink worm. I mean, like
Yeah, it is.
Like just
I think
larger version.
methylate's a different color though that makes you wonder,
That's
like,
funky.
what are they? What
It
are they
seems
seeing?
to work better when it's colder.
Bubble gum,
Methylate.
methylate does. So he's saying right after the spawn, maybe methylate to the spawn, bubble gum right afterwards.
Yeah. Most of the ones I've caught on methylate here in Georgia is on Sinclair. They hate it down there.
We threw it Saturday and didn't do any good.
You didn't do no good on it. Ryan likes to throw the methylate floating worm like that. So bubble gum has been working. Farmer says. Zach Clark, Evergreen SB 135. Anthony Hampton caught a 3/8 spot on a Chapo on Lanier today. Tristan Wiggins is a spinner. Zach Clark, Evergreen SB. Jonah Ford, I tried that and lost 2 jackhammers. Well, don't throw the $15 thing right up there because there's a lot of rocks and
Dang,
stuff.
he
Up
throwing the big stuff.
there. He is. Yeah. Start off with your cheaper stuff.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, you should have got a money saver lure retriever there.
Yeah, there you
Jonah.
go.
Right there. Here you go, skills issue right there. Fred Ashcraft, you'll catch more fish on an old black jitterbug anywhere than a Hellraiser.
Amen.
True. I believe that. Jared, we might have ran him off. I ain't seen him back in the comment sections. We might have made you mad. I hope we didn't make you mad about that. So Jeremiah Giles, the Karashi, what did he say? Is a god tier lure, but for actual giants this time of year, a slow rolled buzzbait gets the big ones too. Buzzbait, you don't really catch. I mean, you catch small fish, but you don't catch a lot of small fish on a buzzbait.
It doesn't seem to be that way.
It's
No.
usually a good fish.
It's kind of like a jig.
Yeah.
Kind of like a jig. You'll catch some small ones, but most of the time, it's a bigger one. Moist Donut. That is a hell of a screen name.
Who in the wide world
Moist
is?
That's got to be a top 5 name for somebody being serious.
I'm
Moist
telling you.
Donut. I love it, dude.
No,
No, come on, Kevin. What are you laughing at?
nothing.
Do you got a moist donut?
No.
Huh?
Nah.
Huh? No?
No.
Do you know what a moist donut is?
No, I'm not even thinking about that.
You were thinking about a moist donut.
No,
Huh? What are you laughing at then?
I'm good. I'm Krispy Kreme filled donut. No, I'm change the subject. Let's go.
Let me read Moist Donut's comment.
Hold
right
on,
there.
we'll put it back up there.
Put it back up. We caught 20 spots north of Browns Bridge today. Nothing over 3.5, with most on a fluke, spinnerbait, and jerkbait. There are a lot of beds shallow.
Good.
So that ought to set up right for you.
I just thought that was
Great.
Tonetta's screen.
Maybe we should call Clarice Moist Donut. Maybe we should.
I think not.
You think not?
She's back there with Tim.
Tim's back in the room with Moist Donut.
Yeah. Oh God.
I can't see his hands.
I can't either. I can't see her hands. That's what I'm worried about.
They're on the keyboard and the scroller. I promise.
Derek, we got a few on the OG over the past weekend. No bigs yet, though. But the spots in Carter's are foods. I don't know what that means, Brad. I think something mistyped right there. Maybe you're saying fools.
Fools, maybe.
But they're foods too. If you like spots, they make a mean taco. I highly recommend them. DDP, Danny. Was that something I said? I don't know what DDP means.
I don't think we probably need to even ask.
We
Alex.
probably don't.
Moving along.
Moving along. Pull up James Ramsey. One time we were catching them on those bubble gum flukes and we ran out. So we made some out of our real bubble gum and loaded the boat. No cap. No cap. Now, how much bubble gum do you got to chew to mold a fluke?
How do you mold one?
Well, I guess you just roll it out. You kind of roll it out like that and just squeeze it a little bit. Now, I will say one time I was brim fishing and I ran out of crickets. I had a pack of Red Man in my back and I pulled it out and started putting little strands of tobacco on my hook. Kept right on going. Them brim don't care. It looked like a bug to them. Chad Carter, single worm hook and a rage toad, just throw and reel. It's weedless too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work too. So all you guys right now are definitely throwing out some good stuff. Buzzbait is like a jig, better than usual quality on the fish. And that's true. I mean, what would you say if you had to pick an average bass you've caught on a buzzbait? Now I remember what you guys caught over at Gunnersville. What do you think it would be?
3.
Yeah.
It's a keeper,
Well,
They're always-
probably 3 pounds.
especially if you're largemouth.
And then 3 and up.
Yeah, that's about, I mean, you'll catch that dink that's overachieving a little bit every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
You see the guy with the 10-inch glide bait and he's got a 6-inch bass that just decided, I'm going to eat that thing.
Tenacious little bass come out there.
Well, they ain't got no mirrors. We've heard guys say
Right.
that. They don't know how big they are. They can feel like they can get it in his mouth. Let's say David Weaver says you're being a gatekeeper, Kevin.
I see that.
Yeah, right there.
No cap.
No cat right there. Fred Ashcraft, methylate, morning dawn, any time of the year. Way overlooked is what I think he was trying to say like that. So James Ramsey said, this is back to the bubble gum, him molding flukes out of a bubble gum, a bunch. My mom used to run the concession stands at the ball field. We have plenty of gum, Danny.
Oh.
And I will tell you this, listen, and I had to do it. If you have a live well or something and you're missing your plug for your live well and all that, 5 pieces of Hubba Bubba, stick that thing down there, it'll hold it all day long.
You didn't tell the story though.
Which one?
The hubbub, but we had to stop at the gas station.
I did because I did. It was on one of our tournaments because I totally forgot to get I have an old school Triton, so it just has a drain plug. And of course, if it ain't in there, you can put all the water in the world in it. It's going to drain that out. And I was supposed to get one, and I went, crap. And I pulled into the Quick Trip about 5 a.m, got that bubble gum, chewed it up, stuffed it down in there. And to be honest with you, I still ain't bought a drain plug.
I can't get it out now.
No, it peels right off. You just get a big wad, you stick it down in there and just kind of press it in there. Works perfectly. I'm just a cheap ass, and I'd just rather chew the bubble
Probably
gum.
cheaper to buy a plug.
It would be cheap. It would be cheaper to buy the plug, but I always forget. And it's one of them odd sizes.
Yeah. I remember I had one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awful. All right, let's see. Robert Robleski, my buddy.
Yeah.
Small poppers right now. That popping baits are good. And you kind of mentioned the E-pop, but you can probably get away with even smaller than an E-pop.
Yeah.
I would say right now. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Those bucks
Regular
would probably
pop
eat
R.
that smaller one up.
Oh, the Bucks would. It would be stupid.
Mhm.
All right, Far Dog. The best topwater bait from when they are bedding for me in the past 15 years has been a Spro popper frog in white, and I dye the belly orange. He talked about this the other night, which is what kind of led me to talking about topwater already.
I do throw a frog at Gunnersville.
Like right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you throw it at beds?
I throw it down where beds should be. So sometimes you can't see them.
Mhm.
It's too dirty. But yeah, I love a popping frog.
I find it interesting. But it totally slipped my mind what David Williams has said, when we interviewed him after the TAA last year. No, we were bed fishing, but I was doing it with a buzz bait. And that just I didn't even think about how they would react. to
They
that
want-
thing coming over their
trying
beds.
to get away from there.
Yeah, it's interesting right there. Let's see, Doc Holiday. My son caught a 2-pounder on a sour gummy worm probably 35 years ago. Listen, you can catch, if they're hungry, they're going to eat anything, right? But that makes sense. At least it's a worm looking thing. But I wonder how many casts he got out of that thing before it just kind of disintegrated and melted.
Gummy worms are pretty tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say they would.
You
hold
gotta
together
chew
lot
on 'em
better
a
than
while.
that Bubble gum would. For sure.
Fred Ashcraft. Old moist donuts about to mess up father time. Flashback to pooping off the back of the boat. Like that. So,
About the same.
oh, does a donut do that to you?
Oh no,
Oh, no?
no, just we're talking about a moist donut. I'm thinking something else. You okay, Dave?
Tim. What
Yeah.
the hell's he talking about?
I'm not answering this.
Are you talking about like a
Thanks,
star?
Tim.
You talking about chocolate starfish?
No,
No.
no.
Do you know what that is, Dave?
No, I really don't want to know. I don't need to know tonight.
I'll explain after the show.
We'll
Thank
explain
you.
after the show right there for sure. Yeah, redneck ingenuity farmer, 100%. That's the listen. I have 2 talents in this world: screwing things up and trying to fix it, and then talking. That's it. So hey, listen. But I'm telling you, in a pinch, duct tape and bubble gum. If the Egyptians had that, all of the Sphinx would still be there, the nose and everything. They just need some duct tape and some hubba bubba. Michael Temples wants to know, what is the best buzz bait to buy? Now, we all got our personal favorites. I know exactly what Dave's going to say, so I'm going to let him say that. I still like the B2B from Accent. It's easy to get up, got the floats on it. So that's my personal favorite. Dave, what's yours?
I like a Lunkalure, but somebody put in a comment that they like the G-Man. But when I get done with mine, it looks just like the G-Man.
He modifies his.
A lot.
Extensively.
Extensively modifies his. So what about you?
The Lunkalure on the single and the Accent on the double.
Yeah. Ryan got me hooked on that Accent, but now he gets some custom ones made. But if you don't have access to custom, that Accent's good. But I'll tell you, it's kind of like a War Eagle.
What's
It's
the
only
difference
good for
in his
a
custom over a regular one?
I think the wire's a little thicker. That holds up a little bit better. I think. I ain't 100% sure.
So he has them custom made.
He told me he did, unless he was lying to me. You might want to give him a call and see if he can find you something like that.
Ryan wouldn't lie.
Shit.
Might not tell the truth. But
Omission of the truth. Yeah. So what about you?
Polygraph.
What about you, Tip? Polygraph.
Polygraph.
Polygraph. We're going to polygraph.
Careful, that's a controversial subject right now, and they're rather touchy with some people.
Oh, I
They get
know
all
it. Good
Pennies
Lord.
all on. I throw a booyah with a little clacker on it.
Little clacker on it.
Mhm. That's what I was throwing at Gunnersville.
Nobody throws the Picasso squealing one.
I don't know.
I don't have to. I don't need it.
You don't
I
need
can
it.
make it squeal.
I can make it squeal right there. Gummy worms have some cool colors too.
They
They
do.
do.
Yeah, you can do that too. Farmer says a G-Buzz, B2B, Picasso, Rusty Squeaker. I knew somebody would say that. The Weed Whacker, all good buzz baits.
Mhm.
I haven't done that enough yet.
Which one?
The Weed Whacker.
You got one though?
Oh, I've got probably 6 of them after that show.
Okay.
We talked with them.
Oh, that was Brazalo's.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay, yeah. I
I kind of want to get a hold of one of those. I may be changing because I wish he'd have forgot a couple of those when he left,
Mm-hmm.
but he took all his stuff with him.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I hate that. Those are interesting.
Hog wild fishing. It's never too early. If you ain't first, you're last. That's exactly right. Alex Purrs loves his Weed Whacker. And
No, that's too much information.
Really, Alex?
He spends too much time in the kayak.
You think?
Kevin just nailed all the kayak guys. Right
Oh,
there. So there we go.
Alex,
yes,
I
you
did.
did. Alex.
Ain't
Shots
nobody else-
fired.
Shots fired.
There's nobody else bragging about it, just Alex.
Just Alex.
Alex.
Hog
Well,
wild.
Alex, I'm going to leave Clarice back here, and she can hang out with you next time.
We'll have a sign. We'll put a sign called Weed Whacker right around her neck. Right
Oh my God!
there. Pull up. I saw one. Oh, go back up to Hog Wilds right up there. No,
Oh.
next one down. Keep on down 2. Go down 2.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. Can I just provide the results of my own personally administered polygraph?
Yes.
Sure.
Why not?
It wouldn't be the first time it's been done, now would it?
You have to put no cap on there.
No cap.
I'm not touching it. I'm not
Why?
touching it. Huh? Oh, I know. Listen, I think it's he should. Yeah, I agree with Rob. I agree with Robleski's comments on that. That there's nothing more that needs to be said on that.
Yeah.
But there is a lot more going on behind
There
the
is.
scenes than you guys know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, luckily we've gotten told some of it that I am not going to say here. It's not my place to say, but that I can just tell you on that situation, a lot more going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
It's
than you know.
classified bike club stuff.
Bike
there.
club, yeah, it was
Yeah.
classified bass
Classified.
stuff. I mean, but
Yeah,
it should
buddy.
be classified. I shouldn't know.
No.
I really should know, but there's a lot going on, and that's all
Have
I'm
you
going
ever
to say.
taken one,
A polygraph? No.
Dave? I have.
What's it like?
Scary as hell.
A polygraph scary?
When they brought me into the room, I volunteered to take one because I was working at a store that was losing some cash. So I volunteered to take the polygraph when they came in, and they brought me into this office, and this guy sitting there, and they turn the chair around after they introduce and tell you what they're going to do, and they ask you 20 questions, and then they turn back around and hook you up and ask the same 20 questions. Well, when the first 20 came out, I was fine, but when he hooked that machine up to me, it was like instant sweat.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing.
So I had a guy in here today, and his wife works for the CIA. We were talking about polygraphs, and he was saying basically you could have 4 guys doing the same polygraph, giving you the same questions, and all 4 of them could read it differently. However, he said once you get to the level, and these were like low-level polygraphs, he goes, but once you get to the level, like if the CIA or one of them boys is administering a polygraph, you ain't getting by it. But that's why he said it's inadmissible at court, because you can get so many different answers. He goes, but the government's polygraphs, he goes, when you get up into that, he goes, they know. And I don't know what it is about it, if they got better equipment or whatever. But he says they'll ask you questions, establish a baseline, and then start asking those same questions again, kind of in different ways and all that. And they can kind of just tell.
Well, they told me that they read the question exactly the second time as they did the first time. There was no variance and no words changed or anything.
Yeah.
So it's
Said,
nerve-wracking.
yeah, I
It
could
really
imagine.
is.
I could imagine.
And if you met somebody from the CIA, I'd be watching your back.
No, it's his wife.
Okay.
His wife works for the CIA.
Okay.
Listen, they're going to get me. I mean, they've seen my phone. I'm in trouble already. So, Hog Wild says it's nerve wracking. Farmer said he's taking one at the ramp during the ABA. Now, Fred Ashcraft says it's all BS, and I'm assuming you're talking about the polygraph, because if you're talking about the other situation, actually it ain't. It really ain't. Professionals put you in a professional environment. That's the big difference in the two. Where you take the polygraph can make a big difference too. And also, he was telling me the tone in which the guy asking you the questions can affect the polygraph as well. Now, Tony, pull up Tony right there. Government uses voice stress, polygraph, and interviews way more intense than what Bass or anyone else is using.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've had to have all 3 of those.
Have you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you took a polygraph. How did it make
I've
you
taken
feel?
a polygraph. I've taken a voice stress, interviews, all of it.
Did it make you nervous at anything?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Or you just cool as a cucumber?
Have you ever
baby?
seen him nervous?
I've never seen Tim.
They
nervous.
ask you a set of questions, and then they ask you this set of questions again. Just give them, answer them again.
Yeah, but Tim can shoot people too.
Yeah, he's got a license.
Yeah, he got a license.
I do not.
You could shoot people if you needed to.
Anybody can.
You know, that
Yeah.
thing was invented in 1921. So that's what, 104 years, and we still.
The polygraph?
Oh yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I didn't know it was
Well,
that old.
when all this, and I don't mean to change the subject, but when all this stuff started hitting, I started just looking.
Mhm.
And there was a guy back in 2011, and I won't say his name, but he was caught cheating with a 16-ounce weight in a fish. And like he'd won 9 tournaments prior in 2 years
Mhm.
and passed every polygraph until that one came up and they found the weight in there. But they didn't go after him for the previous 9. They just got him for that one tournament.
For that one, really. Very interesting right there.
Well, how do you pass them?
I don't know. I've never took one. Robert, actually, this is pretty good. Pull up Rubleski's.
Yeah.
And then I hit Aaron Young at that. Imagine if we all followed the rules, none of these would be talked about.
Exactly. Just do the right thing.
Amen.
Yeah. Aaron Young, my mom was better than any polygraph when I was growing up.
Amen.
No doubt.
Polygraph when
That
I
was
was
a
little
close
was
second.
Granny
Yeah.
sent you to get a piece of privet hedge, and after the first time you went, you'll tell everything and everything else that you know.
See, that's what kids today, have no
Absolutely.
idea. We used to have to go get our own switches
You get
to
a
get our
switch, a
ass tore
privet
up by
hedge.
like that. I could see if I told my kids, go get me a switch, they'd look at me like, what?
I'll just admit my faults right now. You know.
Yeah. Several of them guys have in the comment section are talking about the polygraphs and stuff. Warren said he had to take a polygraph before one Weiss and tuna in the past, never got nervous at all. Somebody
dog.
up there said, Far Dog said he had to take one in the front seat of a truck.
Front seat of the truck. How
That doesn't
interesting.
seem like the best place to take a polygraph.
No.
But it is, and Mama's
11
still
of 'em.
whipped. Yep, for sure. So I tell you what, hey, you want to do right now, since we'll get back on the fishing and everything, you want to do the question of the night right now?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay, let's pull up our buddies there at Serve IT. Guys, if you got a company big or small, and your company's looking for a total IT solution, Serve IT is the company for you, located in Kennesaw, Georgia. They pride themselves on customer service and their process to handle everything with your business's needs. If there's a problem, they stick on it till it is done. But the best thing about it is they work to, not have any problems at all. So that's definitely the thing we want with our companies, big or small. But don't let if you got a small company, we all need some IT services. Lord knows I need them too. But go to serveit.com, check them out. And if you're looking for a career change, you think IT might be, it for you, and you don't necessarily have to have the experience. If you got the right attitude, customer service oriented, they're looking for guys in the outdoor world because we're problem solvers. And so go to Serve IT, check out careers, fill it out. Tell them you heard about it on Fish North Georgia and get a call for them today. So today's prize, we're going to give away some, because we're talking about wacky worms a lot, even though I throw mine weightless. I got you some Fusion 3/16 in the, I think they're green pumpkin. No, they're black. I can't tell because of the way the light's in. So black. And then I got a couple of Nico nail weight skirts, something kind of a little bit different than we got here today. So how many answers to the question?
There's 2 answers. It's an easy question. There's no numbers involved, so Danny can't give you a clue accidentally.
That's true.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
So the question is, Danny has mentioned many times the brand and make of his kayak. What are they? I'll read it again. Danny has mentioned many times the brand and make of his kayak. What are they?
And Alex Purrs, you can't win.
Yep, Alex.
Yeah, none of the crew
None
gets
of the
to
crew can
answer
win.
this.
After we got on him, he probably turned us off.
He probably did. I said, hell with them guys. No, see, Alex, can I play? No, you can't play.
Alex.
No,
So what is
Alex.
the brand and what model of the kayak was I graciously given by Westbrook Supply Co. So you guys right there, and a lot of guys like, dang, we've talked about it quite a bit on the show, and it might end up being.
Well, I'll be
Christopher
darned.
Henry got it.
All right, so Christopher Henry got
Oh,
it.
he's close.
Well,
We'll get
yeah,
to
close
it.
enough. Crescent Sholey. So he's going to actually be here with his brother, Kevin Underwood. If you didn't know, Christopher's Kevin Underwood's brother right there.
Is he a kayak guy?
He is a kayak guy.
Okay.
That's why he got it right there. So, hey,
Well, we gave him a chance. We don't give him any chance.
we don't. I'll put this on the desk when you get here next Tuesday. You can have them right there. Steven Sturgeon said, Old Town Big Water. Listen, if you're new to the show, you got to understand, I've never been in a kayak but one time in my life, but I've got to get out in this shoal as soon as it's warm enough to start doing some film work. That's why Kevin asked why where your kayak was tonight. He remember when he was
He did.
Here? Yeah, there you go. Bottom line outdoors. We'll do a couple more on the polygraph. Why are we still doing polygraphs? So many things can cause inaccurate results.
It's
I
the
don't know.
best thing they got. That's
Mhm.
it. It's the tool they got.
And that's what people have said. It's the best short term like that. I don't know. But there's really nothing else you can do.
No, really, it's the intimidation factor. Hey, if you do something wrong, you're going to have to go sit in front of this thing, and we're going to find out.
Yeah.
So it's more of a keep you straight type thing. It's
Yeah.
the hickory switch.
It is. It's a
It
big
is.
ass
It's the
hickory
hickory
switch
switch,
right
yeah.
there. Southeast Georgia kayak bass fishing says do a voice stress. It's better. I've never done one of those. So
I did. Don't help when the mic doesn't hear you.
Oh, I should remember you said it right.
Yeah. They put a mic there, and the guy's like, "Hold on, I'm not picking it up." Well, me being helpful, I'm like, "Well, can you hear me now?" And it just blew it all out. And he's like, "What'd you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I turned down." He said, "No, don't change your seating.
Yeah. So you gotta be
Keep that in mind, folks. Don't help."
for sure. Alex, yeah, we can go hit Latham pretty soon on that. Brad Silvers. Now, earlier we were talking about the Chapo, and I told you he was a Carter's guy. So what he put, he goes, what I meant before was the spots in Carter's are Coosa spots. Would that change your mind on the Chapo, Dave?
Not really. For me, it's just a confidence thing, and it's a water clarity thing. It seems like they eat it better when it's a little dingier. I mean, I can say I've caught fish on a plopper on Lanier, but I catch a lot more on a walking bait or something else. So I'll throw it, but it's not anywhere near the top of my arsenal.
So
sure.
you think he'd be better off with like a walking style gunfish or something like that?
That's what I've been most effective with. Is either, like I said, I throw the Sexy Dog. I throw the Berkeley Jaywalker is really good. You don't have to change the hooks on that one. It's got the good fusion hooks. So like I said, that I've kind of started shifting to that, but that gunfish is really good because it kind of walks and spits.
Okay. Now in the comment section, pull up Hog Wild right there. This might help you, Brad Silvers. That's what we're all about here. We want everybody to catch more fish. And sometimes the guys in the comments can tell you something. No, not that one. That's on the polygraph. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This next one down.
Oh.
I've put the smack down on him at Carter's with a plopper 130 size.
He's throwing the big.
He's throwing the big one.
That is a big one.
I got one of those in monkey butt.
In monkey butt.
That's the color of it, monkey
That is
butt.
the color, monkey butt. That's what it's called.
Yeah. What the hell color is monkey butt?
It's brown.
Brownish black color.
Yeah,
God,
that's the only dang reason I bought it, because it said monkey butt on the
It's
package.
got
I
gold
feel
stripes,
victim to
doesn't
it.
that's like a woman picking the daggum
Silver
tournaments,
stripes.
you know, March Madness tournament based upon the team colors.
Yeah, I feel victim to that.
Yeah, sometimes.
But it's cool.
You've done it before? Dave, have you ever fished Smith Lake? Richard Smith wants to know.
Yes, I have.
Tell him a little bit about it.
That sucker's deep. I mean, it makes Lanier look like a bathtub.
Really?
Yeah, it's 300 or 400. I mean, you'll be a cast off the bank sitting in 200 foot of water. I caught most of my fish out of brush over there. I went in seemed like it was like September, October, and there was a bunch of fish stacked up in brush piles, and that's where I caught them on a little small jig I throw over there. But
Okay, well, there you go. And he also, Far Dog wants to know, with your Chapo, what falcon rod are you throwing? And although I don't throw them, it might help someone else.
well, Kevin was asking me this earlier. What's the rod? It's a 7.2 medium heavy. So I either have the Bukus, Lowriders, it's a number 5 power. I throw all my top waters on that. It doesn't matter if it's a Chapo, if it's a walker bait. Hell, I throw a fluke on that rod. So
It's kind of like what Farmer says. That's
It's
your
my-
four-wheel drive
it's
rod.
my 4-wheel drive rod.
Does a little bit of everything right there.
Yep.
Hog Wild says again, Brad Silvers, I caught 4 within about 15 casts, all over 3 pounds at Carter's.
Cool deal.
Hey, listen, if it works, I wonder why the bigger size though. Why that works? Just more drawing power. You
I
reckon?
guess
A little louder.
I don't know what size I throw, but it's not the little one. It's the big one.
Okay.
So I don't know the size on
The
them.
90 is the small one, I believe.
Yeah, I throw the bigger one when I
And they
do
got a
throw
little
it.
smaller one now.
Like
I think they have a
75 or
60,
70,
I think I
90,
have
and
the
a 1
originals,
something.
Right.
is what I have.
Okay.
Now, I do change the hooks on them when I get them. I
Okay.
change the hooks on most everything,
All right,
except
so-
for the Berkeley.
So, what's up, Paul B? Glad you could join us, buddy. Alex Purr says my office manager won our bracket by picking colors. Happens every year. I use at Hog Wild the next 2, and I'll just read them. You ain't got to pull them up. I use rainbow trout color and another color. I don't know if it's called shad or what the color is, but it's just silverfish with some black around the head. I always use the translucent colors. The bigger one makes the right sound. The 90 and the 110 just don't sound right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then Southeast Georgia Kayak Bass Fishing says, what about buzz baits on Carter? I'll say this. I saw Ryan catch about a 3.5 pound spot in about 2 foot of water on a horny toad.
I caught them at cars on a buzz bait.
You have on a buzz bait?
Mhm.
What were you targeting? You going down the
I was
down the bank?
paralleling the bank, but I was throwing my lunker lure. I don't throw a skirt on it. I just put a white swim bait on the back.
That's
So
right.
it's metal and swim bait.
Absolutely. Dave, I bought a Falcon Expert head turner for buzz baits. I absolutely love it so far.
It's a good one. That's actually what Christy throws spinnerbait on. He throws a head turner. It's a little bit stiffer
Yeah.
rod, but that's his go-to.
Does he put his reels on those rods?
Yeah.
The JC Christie reels?
He does now.
So, but he puts that on those rods. And
Uh-huh.
Okay, I
They've
didn't know
got
that
some
was.
cool names for their rods. I will say that.
Yeah, I guess they go.
Yeah.
Hog Wild says they also make a 150 or a 170. Good Lord, that sounds like saltwater stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go after some bluefin tuna or something
Yeah.
on Topwater with a 170. Big girls don't like little worms. 100%. You can thank Tony Collum for that one right there. He also says, but I use the 130. I tried the others, but the 130 is the only thing I've gotten bites on, and they smash it 100%.
Probably
Now-
frequency.
It could be.
Yeah, whatever
I
frequency.
mean, but it's
it's
just plop,
concerned.
plop, 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 plop. Good Lord, I hate that thing. God almighty. Carson Fowler, good question, my friend. How is this cold front going to affect the bedding fish this weekend? Today's Thursday. Dave, Kevin, any of you guys?
I don't think it's going to do
No.
I don't think it's going to do a lot to the bedding fish. Now, up here on these clear lakes, it may hold that herring spawn off a little longer.
Yeah.
It could.
But I mean, you're not talking a big dip in water temperature. I mean, hell, we had 68, 69 degree water temps on Gunnersville. It'll drop, but it's still going to be 64. So,
Right, so you're not gonna have
any
this
of that
great-
shad spawn, herring spawn, I feel like it might bump that back a little bit, but those fish are ready to spawn.
And the
Okay.
ones that are locked on are going to stay anyway.
That's true. That's true. Wasn't it you that was saying, though, that lightning can kind of spook them off if you get a lot of
Yes.
lightning?
Somewhere lightning will scare
Yes,
them off the
it'll-
bed if it's a bad storm.
Bad lightning,
Yeah.
which we didn't really have no lightning with what come through earlier. We had a little hail and some rain, but that
Right.
was
It
about it.
lightning north
It's
of here when
lightning
I was
now.
driving it up. But
Didn't Dane say he was seeing lightning on Allatoona when
We
y'all were on the
heard
phone?
some.
Yeah, when we were on the phone with him, you could hear it in the back.
Yeah,
Background.
I heard some thunder, but I don't think it was so quick and
Yeah, I hear it
short lived.
I can see it
Is
popping out there.
Oh, is that what I'm seeing in the corner? Is it lightning out there in the corner of my eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
I
I,
keep
go to the
thinking-
wide shot, you can see it through
I
the
keep
mirror.
thinking
or
it's
the
a
window.
cop going by. I can
No.
see flashes.
Well,
We are in Marble Hill.
Yeah, with that comment, that's what happened to the guys that were fishing south on Gunnersville with Red Crest. Dude, you could walk outside that morning. I walked out Sunday morning, it was storming, raining, and you did not have to have a flashlight. The sky was solid bright. Between that and the water coming up a foot and a half,
hmm
it killed that south end bite. I mean, those guys were catching good sacks of fish down on the south end. They couldn't see the holes in the grass because water came up and that lightning was. I mean, it was clicking off.
Did they delay that any at all?
They delayed it an hour. I think I was sitting down there helping with the kind of the pit crew on Saturday and Sunday morning. It looked like they actually came in, got their official, and left. And it's almost like they called them back because the storms were coming. It was literally running right up the lake, and it split. And we had storms on the north end, storms on the south end. So I actually called them back and ended up launching from Civitan. And made them run from there. Because there was one kid that when I got there early at like 6:30, he was leaving with a marshal, and he must have been way up the road because he was the last one to launch. So I think they delayed them. It was probably 8 or 8:15 before they actually took off, and then they got that 30-minute period. So
Right.
they delayed them about an hour. I think they lost about an hour and 20 minutes of fishing time.
Okay. Pull up, go all the way up the top. There was another question about, I think it's our keep on going. Funyuns right there. What's y'all's favorite popper for spring topwater? Favorite popper for spring topwater?
Yellow Magic.
Yellow Magic.
Bar Dog knows it. It's an old school popper. We used to. I think they came out around East Texas. Is the first place I'd ever seen them. It's a cool little deal because when you snap it, it'll actually plop and it almost walks itself back.
Oh, so down and backs up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. What about you, Tim?
I'll either go just old school pop R or back to the Spro E-Pop.
Spro
Yeah,
E-Pop.
back and forth.
Yeah. What about you?
Popar.
Pop R.
Yeah.
Pop R.
Okay.
I think that's all I own is Popar.
Pop R's. Michael Temples. What about this cold rain out there now? Will that cool the lake down? I'm sure a little, but not a ton.
I don't think it's going to be.
We really didn't get a ton of rain.
It was more hail than
You got some
anything.
good sunlight.
We have had some good sunlight. Richard Smith. I might be old fashioned, but I still throw mostly mono for treble hook topwaters. What about y'all? I'm a yes.
Yes.
Kevin's a yes.
Floats better.
It does. What about you, Dave?
No.
Your fluoro?
I throw braid to fluoro.
Braid to fluoro, which braid floats too. So yeah,
It
you're
does.
not getting much. What about you, Tim?
Either braid or fluoro.
So you don't do the mono.
Mm-mm.
You and I are just cheap asses, Kevin.
I get too damn many bird nests with that damn braid. I do.
Out of your bait caster?
Yep.
I mean, it's cheap and I just throw it. I've never had a problem with it.
The only reason I throw the fluoro on the end of mine is because it won't let it hook.
Yeah, it won't catch the hooks.
Yeah.
And I throw 20-pound fluoro. It's
So
big
15
fluoro.
big game.
Yeah, big game. You can't go wrong with big game. You can pull 5 fat girls all over
Right.
the lake with big
Oh,
game.
yeah. And if you do throw straight braid, you can take some of those little bobber stoppers and put them right in front before you tide.
It'll
And
help.
that'll kind of keep it from
stiffens
hooking
it up.
itself.
From hooking itself back into the
Yeah,
line?
from walking into the line.
Okay, that makes sense. Carson Fowler, someone was going to Lanier this weekend. Would pitching to docks do any good? Depending on what you're pitching.
We let Jonathan Farmer.
Farmer would say yes,
Yes.
any time of the year.
Yeah.
I would say I would be throwing a weightless wacky under every dock I got, but that's just me. And that's what I like to throw. What about you?
Hey, I hope he pitches every dock on Lanier. Stay off in 30-degree banks.
So that's a no from Dave.
I'll fish them, but I'm looking for that certain
Yeah.
sloping bank where those fish will spawn.
Okay, makes sense right there. A lot of guys saying, yeah, it is popping right now. So I get it. Warren Barnes right there, right above where your cursor is. The old Yamamoto 1/4 ounce buzzbait in blueback has always been a killer for me on Lanier. It has a steel blade that squeaks insanely. Thoughts?
I've never seen one of those.
I haven't thrown one of those. He said the old Yamamoto.
I've
So-
never seen one.
I've never thrown one of those. Hog Wild says hula popper. Chris Rudolph, what plastics you throwing in Lanier? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love throwing a softy worm on Lanier. If I'm throwing a shaky head, I absolutely love it because it's just I throw it on a very light shaky head, and it stands up. And I just like that standing up as I'm dragging. And I know you can stick toothpicks in the end of anything like that, but I've always had good success. And if I'm throwing a wacky, which is what I will be throwing 90% of the time, I'm throwing that Yamamoto Monster Bass, which is like that 297/chart/something.
Yeah.
I throw on Lanier, I will throw a shad color. And actually on Latham, every fish I caught, with the exception of one the other day, I was throwing that shad color wacky worm. That's just something. If I'm in a largemouth lake, I'll throw the green pumpkins and stuff like that. But if there's spots around, especially if they're spawning and you don't know it and you just fan casting,
Yeah.
I've caught a
I can
bunch
tell
of
you,
them.
they won't bite that on Sinclair and Oconee.
Monster shad.
You know-
No, his X number 3, whatever it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
that color, that monster shad and all that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've not done well. I've only caught like 2, maybe 3 largemouth on that in the entire time I've been throwing it. It is a spot magnet, but it does not do well for largemouth, or at least I haven't had that kind of success. So what plastics are you guys throwing on Lanier? What are you going to be throwing this weekend?
Saturday. Trick worm on a shaky head. Probably have a brush hog. And
You love
definitely
brush hogs.
that baby brush hog's hard to beat. Vibra if I come up to a piece of wood, and then I'm gonna have I'm gonna throw it to Mickey Armor Shad on drop shot.
Okay. All right. Tim, you and Kevin can answer that same question to Allatoona. What soft plastics are y'all throwing on Allatoona right now?
A Zoom and a Bite Club worm. Tim knows.
I didn't think you would even say that much, Kevin.
Well, I just
I'm killing your mic as we speak.
There is a worm from a company.
No,
In a color.
no.
I just said that y'all like to throw. And if
I'm gonna contact the CIA. You keep on.
I will say this, if I fish that EBO Open tournament on Allatoona Sunday, I will be throwing Bite Club.
There
But
you
I'll
go.
make sure I hide it where nobody else can see it. Okay?
You better. Put
All
that in a
right,
paper sack.
Other than Bite Club's worm, since we're gatekeeping buttholes,
Yeah, we are.
what would you be throwing other than Bite Club?
A trick worm.
Would you go weightless?
Not on a trick worm.
What would you do? You have it on shaky head?
Shaky head on trick worm, alternating between 2 colors depending on water clarity and sunlight, and just a stick worm like Wacky.
Like a wacky. Okay.
Yeah, I can skip that. I can't skip other
That's-
things. I can skip a wacky.
That's
so
all I can
I
skip.
just alternate between those two.
That is all I can skip. I wish I could do that better. David Weaver, I guess, in the comment section, they're still talking about, comments always seem to drag when we get talking. We're talking about topwater braid. I do braid to mono. What's up, cranking and yanking? Brad Silvers, what topwater would you use on the Tennessee River? Nickajack right now. We talked about Nickajack a little bit
We
before the
did.
show.
Mm-hmm.
If you were up there and you were throwing topwater, would you throw topwater up there right now? It being a river?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's no different in Gunnersville.
Mm-mm.
That's true. That's true.
Same Tennessee River.
All right, what would you throw? Either one of you guys. Y'all fish it more.
For
than
top water?
me. Yeah.
Buzzbait if I can get it over the top of the grass. Depends on where.
But that's on down Nickajack away from the dam, right? From Chickamauga's dam.
from
back.
Moccasin, yeah, pretty much past Moccasin being down is regular grass lake. Anywhere up is rock.
Okay. All right. What about you?
Buzzbait's good option. Spro popping frog.
Again,
Whopper.
down by where he's talking with the grass is.
Down more into the lake area.
Yeah, the actual lake part.
If you were close in Chattanooga and up closer to the dam, would you be throwing topwater at all?
You can, but
Probably not as good because
there's a lot of smallmouth up there, and you got to get down to them.
That's okay.
They
All right.
won't come to you.
Okay, that makes sense right there. Far Dog wants to know what's y'all's rules for storms after getting older now. If I hear thunder, tournament or no tournament, I'm loading up. I learned my lesson the hard way. Once woke up in the bottom of the boat.
Nah,
No, listen. If the big guy upstairs wants me, he's gonna
Right.
get me. Whether
I've
I'm
lived a
hiding in the
long
boat.
life. What a way to go!
Mhm. Yeah, I always said I was gonna get shot by a jealous husband, but I think I'd rather get popped by lightning in the boat.
Be
I
over
really
fast.
don't want to.
Be over fast.
I have fished.
Maybe not.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'd probably get that one that just popped close enough just to mess me up a little bit.
I've been tased, so it's okay.
Tongue hang out with my mouth.
We will. Anyway.
Hey, I was fishing on a boat one
If
time.
it's lightning, I'm looking for cover, or I'm laying in the bottom of the boat.
Hell no, I'm like that guy on Forrest Gump. Oh, Captain Dan?
You can't
Yeah.
sink this boat.
You can't sink this boat. Yeah.
Just
get it.
remember
Colonel
though,
Dan.
if you got
Colonel-
a graphite
yeah.
rod, don't hold it up.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. That's
Lieutenant
right.
Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. You're right.
Yeah, your graphite rod will conduct electricity, so
When it
don't be high
starts buzzing,
sticking
it's
out there.
time to
Yeah.
leave.
Listen, I'm married to Amanda. I ain't scared of no thunderstorm.
Yeah, and if your line levitates off the water,
Okay, then maybe. I get it.
yeah, if you've got line out and it just stands up for no reason, I'd
time
lay
to
that
go.
rod down and
But listen, one time
mind my business for a minute.
me and Josh were fishing a evening electric tournament up in Dahlonega on Yahula. And that was back before we had a boat. We were in my 1436 Alumacraft, and it come just a vicious lightning storm. And we were up that little creek there, and everybody else either trailered or they got under that little bridge. And me and Josh, like idiots, we were like that. We're like, if God wants us, he's going to get us. And we kept fishing. And probably the best 30 minutes of fishing I ever had
Mm-hmm.
on Yahula. We were just popping them. The second that the cloud moved over and it stopped, we didn't get another bite the rest of the night.
I put power poles down and everything. I don't want anything sticking up.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I was standing up in the middle of
Kevin
that
gets
thing.
low.
Listen, we were watching streak lightning just crack all around us. I'm like, well, we're in an aluminum boat. We're screwed. We might as well fish.
You're there. I mean,
Yeah, we didn't have much we could. Let's see. Up at the top, Nico under docks is a good thing.
yeah.
Doc Holiday says Sinclair is Georgia red clay color today and will continue because it's flooding here and on the Oconee and Athens. Makes sense too. Yeah, you're going to get if you get a lot of heavy rain in a given location, it's going to muddy the water up a lot.
Yeah.
JT says topwater bite was good this past weekend on Lanier. Predictions for the weekend. Shouldn't stop.
No.
I heard they had 2 gates being going for 2 days that Sinclair letting water out.
That much water coming into it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think, kind of JT, it just seems like everybody's been talking about it. Says that the topwater bite's getting there good. So they're either going to be on bedding or they're hitting the topwater.
I have a feeling that heron spawn's going to run into it again. And we're gonna-
Mm-hmm.
Getting that hair
Depending on-
spawn. Boy, if
depending on where you're at.
if you can just land in the right spot, one of those are just full blown going. If you're in the right place at the
It
right time,
takes 10 minutes.
you can just waylay them.
I've caught, I can say this, on my good days, I probably have caught more fish on that stupid Demiki armor shad on a heron spawn than I've caught on than going down the bank when they're spawning.
Oh, for
yeah.
sure.
And I've caught the heck out of them when they're spawning, but when they get on that heron spawn deal, and like I said, it happened. I was in places where it was just like they were blowing and churning the water, but just going down through there, it's almost like when a little bite-sized bait comes by, they eat it.
Yeah. You could throw a booger in a heron spawn.
Dude, that was
You
a
really
weird,
could.
I found that deal.
Huh?
I found that deal in the middle of a tournament with a co-angler with 14 pounds in his side and me with nothing.
And then you all of a sudden.
Well, I was going down through there and about a 3.5 pounder ran a heron up on the bank, run up there and got him and kind of flopped itself back in the water. I said, I just got to find something about that size. And that Demiki armor Shad on that drop shot.
And then it was on.
Fit the bill. I've caught them every year since.
Yeah, it's good. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cranking and yanking just came in from fishing, had a bruiser wacky on one rod and a buzz on the other. Nothing hit the buzz, had 5 or 6 on the wacky. Can't go wrong with a wacky worm this time of year.
That's right.
Christopher Henry, with y'all's buzz baits, do you throw them right out of the box or do you tie them to the antenna to get that different sound?
This would be Dave's.
No.
area of
Dave does not, but
expertise.
Dave takes a pair of daggum pliers to his.
I did tune one for you when you were
You
up there.
did.
didn't
I
you?
still got it. I haven't fished with it yet. I need to fish with it. But tell them kind of what you do.
So the first thing I do is I take it and like I said, I don't throw a skirt. I take the skirt off. I get right at the head. I bend the wire up and I get about a 1/4 of an inch above that and bend it back down. So what that does, it drops the head of the buzzbait in the water. I grab the clevis, the little rivet thing that spins, and I crimp it so it won't spin. And on the top of it, it's cylinder shaped. It's got like a mushroom head on top. On that mushroom head, I turn about 3 or 4 places and turn it up into the blade, and I get it where that blade just can barely turn. If you do that, you don't have to tie them to your antenna. They will squeak straight out of the pack if you do that. If you do those things, all you're doing is trying to get metal to metal. And I've done the antenna thing. We used to do it for riding 2 hours to the lake, and you cast it about 4 times, catch 4 or 5 fish on it, and it would break because you wore the wire out. With this, I can make those modifications, and it doesn't compromise the integrity of the buzzbait.
Did I ever tell you about my 66 Mustang and my buzz baits first time I tried to do that?
Where'd it go?
I called her panty dropper. It was a beautiful car, but I put 3 buzz baits and I tied them real tight, different levels. And I started going down there. I was 17, 18 years old. And I started going down the daggum road and I was flying. And I thought I was just the greatest thing in the world with 3 buzz baits coming off my thing. But damn antenna come off the car and just flew down the road.
And flew, huh?
Yeah. And next week the windshield wipers flew off the thing and I couldn't ever keep it running because the car, I traded it for Fiero GT. I should be beat. I did. But I did that. I lost an antenna trying to do the buzzbait trick. It was awful. Steven Sturgeon. Right there. A buzz toad would work great if you can't get a buzzbait to go through grass or slop. And that you throw the toad a lot, don't you? Or
I don't throw
no,
the toad.
you throw a
hardly
minnow
at
style.
all. I either throw a swim bait or I throw the Zoom Z-Crawl Junior.
Yes, I knew it was something.
Yeah, to me, the toads have so much plastic on them. If that's what I have to do, I will do it. But a lot of times I'll cut that top out of that horny toad because I don't want it to decrease the bite of that hook.
Yeah,
So I'll thin it up where when he gets it, they hold on to plastic. Seem like a lot better than they do a skirt.
Okay, hey, it works for me. I believe that. Jeremiah, anybody got any experience on Fort Yargo? Yeah, I fished it once and it sucked. Got some big fish in there, and there's some guys that know how to catch it, but I have never done well on Fort Yargo. Any of you guys ever fished it other than me? So I can't give you a lot of experience, but that day it was terrible. Listen, Farmer says, besides Dave, y'all all kind of low to the ground anyway. I think he's calling us short, Tim. I believe that's a short joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Farmer, I'm 5'10". Come on, buddy.
Yeah, give Kevin some credit.
Kevin's about the same size.
I'm
as
still
me.
in the bottom of the boat. I don't care if I'm 4'4". I'm getting in the
You get in the bottom of the boat.
I don't have to
Let
duck.
me ask you a question. In the bottom of the boat, you're like 2 foot lower than if you were just
I'm
standing up.
laying down in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, but if that lightning's hitting anywhere close, your ass is grass.
It's
anyway.
just a false sense of
Well, I'm not-
security.
It is a false sense of
I'm
security.
decreasing my chances.
Are you decreasing your
Yes,
chances?
sir.
You're gonna get low.
No, I'm
I don't mess
I'm
with
standing
that
on the
stuff.
bow of the boat, buck ass naked with rods in there, going, "Come on, baby!"
That's
Woo!
like a light switch. I'm calling an electrician. I'm not even going to try to fool with that shit.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you like that. It is kind of dangerous, but I have. Chris Rudolph, if you fished Lakes Warner and Dahlonega, what worked for you? Shaky head works well. Drop shot, jig works well. Actually, topwater works over there certain times of the year. Buzzbait works good. I've caught most of my fish. You actually could throw Kitex and an underspin over there. I've seen guys do well. So anything, but a lot of guys, if they go up the creek arm, they're throwing jigs and stuff on them rocks and stuff. I think the biggest fish I've ever seen caught out of there was always on a jig, but pretty much whatever you want to do, you can do up there. Christopher Page, Topwater was on fire after lunch today when the sun was out on Hartwell. It's that time of year.
A storm was coming too.
Yeah. It's like never too early to talk about Topwater. It's crazy right there. Let's see. JT's laughing, I'm sure. Far Dog, from mushroom heads to moist donuts, all we're missing is, did Kenny Rogers hit Dolly Parton? Well, if he didn't, he was a fool. Let's just say that. Knowing Dolly's reputation, if I was a bet man. If you was a betting man, yes or no, Tim?
I'd say probably so, yeah.
Dave?
I don't know.
Well, just bet you're betting. You got a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Kevin.
No,
No?
I have a lot of respect for Dolly. No, my answer.
She got a reputation, you know. You ain't heard about her reputation?
Not a bit. I'm just a lot of respect for Dolly Parton.
Oh, listen, a woman can sing.
Yes, she can.
A woman can sing. She looked good back in the day.
She still looks pretty damn good for her age today.
She does, but she's plastic now. She's got a lot of
still
plastic.
looks, well,
She does look good for her
that
age.
Big Al puts on there's plastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Where has he
100%.
been lately too, by the way?
Big Al, I don't know. I have to text him tomorrow and find out where he's been. If you ask me, I don't know. And another question was, did Conway and Loretta? Tim?
Yeah.
Dave?
I'm not that old.
You ain't got to be that old.
No.
All right, you got as much respect for Loretta Lynn as you do Dolly Parton?
He's
Well, I know
hesitating.
Conway, so I would say
Yeah. Well, look, Kenny was a gambler, baby. You never know. So I say yes.
Yes,
Conway just
Farmer.
hit that voice, that panty dropping voice.
Yeah.
Hello,
There's a
darling.
tiger in them tight fitting jeans.
Hello, darling.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway. All right.
what a
So,
rabbit hole.
So
We
let's
did
go
go
back
down
to
the rabbit-
fishing.
Yeah.
Correct. You're correct, Farmer.
Still a 5 as the first number.
Who's giving a thumbs up?
It was probably me
Oh.
right there. Brandon Cobb has a good video on how he modifies his buzz baits.
Yes, he does.
And let's see. Wait, what? First time I've seen that name up there. Appreciate you joining us tonight and throwing a comment out there. Matt Becker just dropped a video on spawn baits. To my surprise, he touted the 5-inch Yamamoto Cutail.
Cut tail.
Cut tail.
Cut tail?
Mhm.
Wait a second. Say that again.
Cut tail.
Okay. Now pronounce it again.
Cut tail.
All right. So the way you just pronounced it, there's
not
two T's.
There's not two T's.
So how can you say cut tail?
Because that's the way.
Yamamoto spelled it that way.
Right.
And he
It's,
calls it a cut tail.
It's like Rapala.
it's Rapala.
It's Rapala.
Don't give a damn. It's crappy, not crappie. I've got 30 bags on my
Sack away.
pegboard right there. Well, if it works right there. So let's see. And some of you guys up there are talking about going to the Ohoopee and the Ogeechee and all that stuff. So need to do that sometime. I want to go down south, catch some of them shoal bass for sure. What are you laughing at?
Farmer.
Farmer squirrel.
Yeah.
You know how it is with us. Paul B says swimming worm right there. What is the one thing right now that you think guys might be thinking about trying that you wouldn't, given the way the bass are kind of all over the place right now? And it could be topwater or anything you might see them trying to cast at the bank or a technique. What would you not be doing right now? Might help a guy.
Probably. I don't know that I didn't tie a crankbait on.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah, I think it's a little late for the cranking.
I didn't even take one.
You probably could catch him on it, but it's just not in my top. Now I might have one tied on by noon on Saturday, but
What about you, Timothy?
I'm
What do
kind-
you and Clarice think?
I don't know. Let me ask her. Yeah, probably the least thing would be some sort of crankbait because you're going to catch fish, but all you're going to get some little bitty bank runners.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to get the little dudes that are running the bank. I mean, you're going to catch them, but it's not what you're looking for.
Do what now?
Hellraiser.
A Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
You notice that guy didn't come back in the comment section.
Did we hurt someone's feelings?
I hope we didn't. I hope you're still watching.
Yeah, don't leave us.
Yeah, don't leave us. I just don't like that Hellraiser. I just don't like it.
Welcome to the crowd.
Yeah. Farmer says a drop shot. What about you guys in the comment section? What's the one thing that you would not be throwing right now? All right. And other than bike club stuff, you know, we don't want to talk about bike club stuff, but
Right.
what would be the one technique, Tim, that you might want to try that you don't normally do this time of year?
Well, you know, if you're thinking about right now, the water's going to be a little off color with this rain,
Yeah,
possibly. So,
yeah.
are you taking that into your question, or
Hell, we can do whatever.
I'm just asking?
Oh, look, Aaron Young says, easy on the country duet. You caught my wife's attention. Hey, that's my job, man. Stirring the pot right there. So,
Why wouldn't a drop shot be pretty decent if you had some decent clear water?
Dude,
because Farmer hates throwing it.
he hates throwing, but I'm gonna tell you what. Try
Listen.
that Demiki Farmer when they get on that heron spawn.
Oh yeah.
On a drop shot.
I throw it on a. I throw the 3-inch Demiki armor shad on a drop shot.
Yeah.
You need to throw. I throw a 1/0 EWG hook, but just throw it on a medium heavy because you'll lose a bunch of them if you put it on anything lighter.
How big's your tagline on that?
10 inches. I just want it off the bottom and throw it out there. And a lot of times they'll come up and just hit it. And when they do that, they don't get it, just start shaking it even more. And next thing you know, it's swimming off.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
It's that was like, I found it with,
So you've got the hook buried,
I
skin
got,
hooked.
it's through the drop shot and it's skin hooked on the top. So it's
Okay.
weedless. You can throw it anywhere.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I found that deal. Like I said, I found that 11 o'clock mid tournament. Like I said, I was trying to find something to mimic the heron. And the last 3 or 4 years, that's the go-to when the heron spawn goes.
Is it just with the heron spawn? Would you do it if, let's say, guys don't have heron on their lake?
I've only done it here. Now I've power shotted it. I did that at West Point down there in March, and I think I finished second in a TBF, throwing it on power shot. But I was throwing a Fluke Junior.
Mhm.
They seem to like the armor shad a little bit better. When I run out of those, I go to a Fluke Junior. It doesn't seem to change too much.
That would be interesting to see if, like, guys on a shad lake, if that would work the same. I can't see why it wouldn't.
No, I mean
But
Gunnersville, I'd have to link to my thing because of the grass.
Right.
I have to change that out.
But shad spawn, true like shad, a little bit different places than heron.
That grass and herons, you got those hard covers or clay banks or blow throughs or something like that.
Let me ask you this, because I've seen it with my own eyes. You get fish that are spawning on like a boat motor in a dock. Places like that, around a bridge piling. What are you throwing there? Because you can't throw that drop shot. I mean, you could throw that drop shot, but there's got to be better alternatives than throwing that.
Swim jig or swim bait.
Swim jig. You doing that Alabama shake as you coming through?
It's coming through the whole time.
That takes a lot of effort to do that
It does.
Alabama
It
shake.
wears
Right?
your forearm.
I'm serious. It's like I tried that over at Hickory Log one time, and I just make a bomb ass cast down one of them things. And I had a swim jig, and I was like,
you never got it back.
"Good Lord!" I don't think I had the right setup and rod to do it either,
Yeah, you need a soft tip broadsword to get a lot of wiggle.
dude. Like
7.2 medium heavy.
7.2 medium. But I was just shaking the daylights out of that thing, probably to the point where fish were like, "The hell's wrong with that thing coming through the water?" But I did catch a few fish on it.
Farmer said Fluke. Fluke's a good option too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You can
'Cause-
keep it in their face.
Yeah, because when they're spawning on a boat motor or something like that up. A lot of guys said they would not throw a whopper plopper. Good for you, JT. A rattle trap would be a last resort.
Yeah.
Richie Rock and Roll. Hey, anytime you can get here is a good time, buddy. Appreciate you. Farmer says a square bill and laydowns can catch some big post spawners.
Right.
You know, there's a kind of a misconception. A lot of guys say that once they spawn, they're jacked up for a month or so. But I don't know that that's necessarily
They'll
true.
eat.
They're hungry.
Well, they got to eat.
After a day or two, they'll eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't take a lot of time. That was my next question. How long do you think they actually take before they get back into feeding
I
mode? You
think
said
it's
day or
just
two.
a few days.
Yeah,
Seems like.
guess it depends on how big the buck is.
See?
Southeast, you got that, didn't you?
I did.
They might be walking crooked for a couple days. You never know.
sore.
Southeast Georgia kayak bass fishing. Do you guys throw the weightless Texas rig trick worms on Lanier? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Tim White putting a thing, bubblegum is great post spawn. A lot of guys are throwing methylate. Somebody earlier in the show said lime color.
Yeah.
You know, he caught a lime color. What about white? I know that I used to throw white trick worms in dirty farm ponds, and I did really good on that.
I've
And
thrown
yellow.
white.
I never threw the yellow.
No bananas.
No, I never threw that. I had a guy come here looking for bruised banana the other day, too, and I didn't have any. Had to order them some.
The first one, I think probably the first one I ever caught them on was white.
Was white. But my dad's farm pond stayed muddy a lot. It was really stained. Like it never got clear. And there was something about that white trick worm coming through the top that worked really, really good. But the answer,
I can
yes.
see it.
Everybody throws it. John G says, me and my dad restored a 66 Mustang. I drove that for years. Well, if you go down Highway 9, I'm sure somebody's probably picked it up, but there's an antenna with 3 buzz baits on it. I didn't go back and get it because I was embarrassed. There were cars behind me. Yeah, I mean, what do you do?
No, I understand. I was just thinking about Tony and his camera and pole.
Oh, yes.
Can't go back and get
You
it.
can't go back. Didn't something happen to Zaldane and his camera pole or something like that? They were trying to do the live or something like that. I didn't see it happen, but I saw something in the comments. I think he had a malfunction with one of those today. Farmer says a double blade buzzbait mimics those spawning herring around docks extremely well. Makes sense. Danny, let's see, Richie Rock and Roll. Everything's muddy right now. What should we be throwing? Well,
Something
I mean,
that makes noise.
noise is good
Vibration.
if you go in top water.
Yeah, vibration.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I haven't been in really muddy water, so I don't know.
No,
Spinner bait. Would you go with the Colorado blade or that hybrid that's not quite a willow, or does it
No,
matter?
you're talking about the Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd go with double Colorado right now.
Yeah.
Or, I threw a chatterbait the other day too and didn't get the bump on it. The guy in front of me was catching them on spinner bait, so I quickly switched.
You quickly switched out. Yeah, I don't blame you. Danny in the shop last 2 weeks. What's been the hot lure out your way? Cincos.
Yeah.
I've had more guys buy Cincos than anything. But in all fairness, when they come in, like, what are you throwing, Danny? I'm like, wacky worm. What color are you throwing? Well, I go over there and I show them, and they always walk out with some Cincos. I will tell you what's not selling. Hellraisers.
slobber knocker.
And slobber knockers. I got a whole
No,
wall.
actually, listen.
I got a wall full of them.
Hey,
back here.
Did
but
the guy come?
yes, the guy came, bought $100. Remember when I said I'll sell you a slobber knocker for $5? Sure enough, he came down and bought 20 of them, and from Tennessee.
Should have given them 20 more.
Is that why
Hell,
there,
damn,
is
buy
that
one,
why
get
there's so
one
many
free.
of them missing on the wall back here?
Yeah, but he bought
Look
20
there.
of them, and like I said, you come in the shop, I'll give you a Hellraiser for $9.
There you go.
But what's not selling, what I haven't sold as many of, is Kitex and this is just lately, the Kitex and the Minnows, any kind of minnow bait. That's slowed down over the last
Is
couple
that
of weeks.
mooch minnow, you think, is taking over some of that?
I just think guys are hitting the bank and they're concentrating on bedding fish and fishing shallow right now. I think that will switch back here in another month.
I'm
Guys,
surprised you can get a moochman and a freeloader right now.
it'd be Topwater.
Cabela's
Topwater.
has both.
Who?
Cabela's.
I
Cabela's.
know.
And
They
Aqua.
got them.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I would say here in about a month, Topwater baits will start selling really
Yes.
good. And then people will start going back to the minnow style baits a little bit more. But I think right now they're concentrating on anything shallow, kind of that thing right there. Captain J. Morgan, if nothing is going right, throw white.
That's
Just
a
bit
good rule of
advice.
thumb.
It's a good advice as anything right there. Fishing with Farmer, bright colors are what you're wanting, causing a reaction. May not look like anything. It's bright, it's loud, and they can eat it.
Yep.
Makes sense. Richie Rock and Roll. I haven't heard the phrase bruised banana since my buddy's dad had a beat up yellow pinto. I had a guy come in yesterday looking for bruised banana zoom worms. So yeah, I hadn't, that color kind of popped up. John G. Wilson. If someone in a kayak gets caught in the rain and it's lightning, should they lay their rods down till they can get back to the ramp? Crazy question, I know.
Yeah, probably good safe practice.
It probably wouldn't hurt.
Graphite conducts electricity, and that's going to hit the highest point.
It probably would not hurt. I think just to be safe, I would say yes. However, I've never been in a kayak in a rainstorm, so I don't know. Some of you kayaker guys can attest to that. Do wake baits play this time of year? Blitzen wants to know. Didn't somebody in the comment section earlier today say we're catching them on wake baits already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe they did.
What's your favorite wake baits? Or do you even throw them?
I don't throw them.
Tim?
I don't fool with them much.
Okay, Kevin?
I got some. I just bought some, and I got one about 3 months ago from you.
Mm-hmm.
But I just bought a rod to throw them with because the damn thing weighs 2 1/4 ounces.
Oh yeah, they're
I didn't
heavy.
have a rod to throw one that heavy with.
Yeah.
So I just got the rod in a couple weeks ago and I haven't been out to try it.
So don't know the exact. I
I
do
don't have
know.
a favorite.
Yeah. Glitz, get some. I know some guys are throwing them already for sure. Steven Sturgeon. Yeah, here's what happened. Pull up that comment right there. Zaldane mounted his camera badly and it fell off after about 10 minutes of hard running through the chop.
Yeah.
I knew something happened with his camera because he was going to like on YouTube or something, kind of like Cifuentes did down here for the TAA. He was going to broadcast what he was doing and he lost it right there. So David Weaver. Right there. Pull that puppy up right there. What about jerkbaits? Haven't heard very much tonight about them. We talked about it the other night. It was mentioned bed and bass. Guys, some guys will throw jerkbaits over them, kind of get it right there above it and just got to let it suspend a little bit, rise slowly. I know that my partner, William, on Latham, oh, good Lord, on Latham Saturday, he, I know it, man. You can't do nothing anymore. That camera catches you up, does that.
That's good stuff.
It's good stuff. But he threw a jerkbait and didn't get bit. He didn't even get sniffed on it.
Yeah, I would think that might be a little late or.
Well, he thought because the wind picked up on Latham, which it always does, no matter whether the wind's blowing anywhere else in the world, Latham is going to have a swirling wind. He thought once the chop got up a little bit, maybe he wouldn't catch him on shaky head. We did, and it was coming in and out, but he didn't get bit on it. So, do you throw a jerkbait this time of year? Okay, Dave does. Tell us about the jerkbait, Dave.
Yeah, I throw either the Pointer 100 or the basically chartreuse shad, and then they make one. Megabass makes one. It's a +1, but I dig it. I'm digging it in the bottom.
Yeah, you're still throwing it up shallow.
I'm throwing it up really, really shallow. Now if you're on a grass lake, that McDart is really good. I posted that video. It was stupid.
Yeah,
that's the best grass jerkbait I have ever put in my hands.
Okay, so let's do this for our sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, what is the best jerkbait you've ever put in your hands for a grass lake?
This is Pro McDart.
Hey, listen,
it was crazy. It was goofy. I mean, it really doesn't get hung up. It doesn't foul.
Was you digging it, or no? Of course you couldn't because it was grass lake.
Yeah, I was just coming. It runs about 3 feet on my setup, and I can keep it right across the top of the grass. You feel it hit, and I'd snap it again, and when I get it back, the hooks are clean.
Okay.
I don't know how it runs pretty heavy nose down. The other thing with jerkbaits, throw it up in a lay down.
Yeah,
it'll come through there. They're built to run like this. You'd be surprised where you can fish a jerkbait through.
Yeah,
I've caught some big spots on the Coosa River throwing a jerkbait in the middle of a lay down and jerking it through it.
Right. For those of you that aren't familiar with the McDart, it's Spro's new jerkbait. It looks almost like a McStick, but it has a wider wobble action too.
Yep.
According to those guys. I don't even know if we got some to try out.
It's
out?
It's out.
It is out now.
Yeah,
okay.
I waited to post. I got that YouTube video on it. I waited to post it till I knew it was out.
Yeah, but we fished it on Lanier. I did, and I even was cranking it instead of just working it like that. I was cranking it, and that was that one day we figured it out too late in the tournament. We just started getting slammed on Lanier. We were in the Young Deer area and coming back into that and just throwing it out. There's kind of like some grass over there where that guy's got that huge house or whatever it is. And we started right there, and we'd been popping it all day and nothing. And I just got pissed off and started reeling it.
It's almost like
boom, boom.
It almost walks like a spook, but 3-4 feet down.
Yeah, it has a much wider,
way
kind of
wide.
thing. I'm telling you guys, if you can get your hands on them Spro McDarts, you'll like it. And that ain't just me saying it, because they like us, but it actually is a legit. And I don't like jerkbaits. You guys know I'm not good with jerkbaits, but that's the one I've been throwing. Let's see. David Weaver likes a redfin. That's always a good one. Farmer says a lizard is hard to beat for bed and bass. They hate them. Kevin, you want to get on Farmer?
No, I think a lizard's good for bedding bass if you're going to fish for bed.
If you're going to fish for bed and bass, yeah. I will say that one of the bucks I caught Saturday, I just broke off a wacky off a stump, and I tied real quick, and I just had a pack of Zoom. It was black with the blue tails, and I said, I'm gonna just try this. And so I threw it in and around the bed and popped that joker. But then I went right back to my wacky. So Jeremiah Giles, one of my top 3 water baits of all time is that dang Rico, but everybody already knows that. That's a good one. Wyatt Martin lost a giant last weekend on a frog way up north on Lanier. You know, a lot of guys, you don't think about frog fishing with Lanier, but even on Latham. And I tell you, a popping frog works really good too.
Good grass up north.
Huh?
Good grass on there.
Yeah, it's much better. Good question from Derek right here. What makes it good for grass? What is it about
talking
grass?
about the jerkbait?
Okay, all right. Oh, hell yes. Damn, I think he's wanting a smart question about grass, but he wants to know that McDart, what makes it good for grass?
I think it's the way it runs. I think it runs a little more nose down, so it kind of it doesn't.
It's not raking the hooks into the grass.
Yes, the hooks are up above. To be honest with you, I haven't put it in my pool, but I will since my boat's here this week and play with it where I can actually see it real well. I'll let you know. Stay tuned next Thursday night.
Okay, yeah.
I'll have time to put it in the pool. Once I put it in the pool, then I can see what it's doing.
Kind of tell what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, next Thursday night we got Jacob Walls, MLF angler, that's going to be joining us. So that's going to be a good show. Brad Silvers, I can already tell you what Jonathan Farmer is going to answer on this one. If Farmer's still here, I know what he's going to answer. What would you suggest at Carter's in the evening while it's 4 foot high? He's going to throw a jig up in all that flooded timber.
Heck yeah.
Isn't that what he says every time?
Yep.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah, he's not
If
wrong.
Carter's is high,
Told you.
throw a jig and throw it up on that bank where the water shouldn't be. But that's what Farmer, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Chris Rudolph, how do you like using copolymer? Didn't you say something about copolymer earlier?
Yeah, I used to throw copolymer until I got here. It's really, really good. I don't have any qualms about it. The only thing is it's still got a lot of stretch in it. So
Yeah.
it depends on what you're doing. If you're cranking with it, it's not so bad. It's pretty abrasion resistant, but for me, it's just got too much stretch.
I want to say Ryan used to throw that P-line copolymer.
Yeah.
Ain't that what he threw? He loved it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
casts good.
If you're close up, like flipping, like really, really close, like we used to do in Louisiana, I came here with throwing copolymer, but it was from me to Kevin.
So
It
you
was-
didn't use it for like casting or nothing?
No,
like
I used it more for flipping.
for flipping. Okay. Let's see. Get some fish to frog today. Farmer says it's illegal to do. They're talking about something in a tournament, but take a piece of pantyhose, put some Alka-Seltzer in it,
There you
thread it
go.
on the hook like a jig, and toss it in the bed and see what happens. Old
What makes
timer
it
told me that.
illegal?
Huh?
What makes it illegal?
The damn DNR. They don't like it because it's like that's an old timer
Well, I
trick.
can
We just
remember
put
them
it in a
taking
tube.
Alka-Seltzer and putting it in the tube. So
Well, that's what it says right there.
Exactly right.
Aaron Young says farmer Alka-Seltzer in a tube bait. But I think because you're using it in the pantyhose and it's not, I don't know, but I've heard
I
that.
don't know why pantyhose would make it.
Well, he might say it's illegal to do in a tournament. It might not be illegal to do for anybody else, but in a tournament, it might be.
Alka-Seltzer in the tube is really
Yeah,
good.
but I've never in the rules. I've never read anything about can't use pantyhose or a piece of cloth or.
Y'all better use
Well, what you need to
Alka-Seltzer.
do is call somebody for a lake you're fishing in 7 months and find out,
Thank you.
and then we'll figure it out when the time
Thank
comes.
you.
We'll throw the polygraph on
Well,
them.
it's a nice. It's the
Sorry.
responsible adult thing to do is put some Alka-Seltzer
You're
in
gonna
there.
be
'Cause when you
hungry.
set the hook, you won't have a headache.
We'll do that. So Tim Hancock says, I love P-line floral clear, co-poly. That's what I've thrown. It's a good line. I've thrown that before. And cranking and yanking. Whereabouts are you from in Louisiana?
St. Francisville, about an hour north of Baton Rouge.
And I can tell you the son of a gun can cook like he's from Louisiana. That's for sure.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be much to look at, but boy, he sure can cook some crawfish etouffee.
They need to go watch that episode.
What's
Yeah.
that dessert?
Beignets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to bring
Beignets.
some of those.
Yeah.
My wife won't let me. She said they're not as good when they're not fresh.
Well, let us.
Well, damn, we got a
decide that.
microwave. We can heat them jokers up.
That's
I
no.
know.
I
I
need
know.
cold ones out of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
That's
care.
what I
We'll,
do.
we'll eat them.
Yeah, thanks.
The beignets, them beignets or something else.
Oh my God,
I'm telling you, if I'm on death row
that's your last meal.
and they give me 5 items,
Dave, cook all
Dave
the
is going to come up and cook me some crawfish etouffee. I'm going to have a quick trip jalapeno hot dog with onions and jalapenos and that cheese they got right there. I want a daggum Wendy's. What is that? Baconator. I mean, I'm going out with the cholesterol high. Baconator. I want some homemade vanilla ice cream.
And beignets.
I don't know. I mean, beignets are good.
What about that thing from Taco Bell?
Chili cheese
Chili
burrito,
cheese
baby,
burrito.
with sour cream and fire sauce right there.
There
That
you
gets
go.
a double thumbs up. Taco Bell, the worst damn thing you guys did as a corporation was take that chili cheese burrito out of all the daggum Taco Bells. I could have paid for your kids' college in just chili cheese burritos. But you know what? No, we got to put some damn cheese on a French fry and call it a day at a Mexican restaurant. It's all Taco Bell's gone woke with their menu.
Mm,
They need to bring back the old school shit.
yeah,
You ever had chili cheese burrito?
I don't eat chili.
But your
What the-
crawfish etouffee's good.
What is wrong with him?
You know, he's
And
Cajun.
it's not by it's my belly doesn't like chili.
Oh, he's got a poon belly. All right, I get it. I got a goat belly, so I can handle that. There.
I'm with you.
I love chili cheese burrito. Farmer guys rigged a wooden clothespin with a hook and used an Alka-Seltzer for bed and bass and farm ponds. Now we're talking about some good old cheating kind of stuff right there. I'm not gonna lie. First time I ever saw anybody snag a bass, my dad had that old farm pond, and we had a couple of. This is back in Forsyth County, back in the '80s, early '80s, and they came over and they had a big old float, and they wanted some fish to eat. My dad said, "Go down and catch you whatever you want." So they went down there with a daggum treble hook and a float, and they would throw it over a fish and just slowly bring it over, and then just boom right in the side.
Hmm.
Yeah, now totally illegal, and we don't need to be doing that, and you might
Right.
get in trouble. But Aaron Young, worst Taco Bell idea was French fries. Who the
Yeah.
hell goes to Taco Bell and orders French fries?
Yeah, they
Other than my wife.
they don't need that there.
And a potato burrito. They got that cheesy potato burrito.
Yeah, I know.
That's just stupid. Chili cheese burrito, Taco Bell. You know, whatever. All right, so guys, we got a few minutes left. Worst taco idea was Taco Bell. Listen, can't be picky. If they'd put a Taco Bell right across the street from the shop here, I would keep them in business by myself. So, and now we know why they polygraph. I mean, hey, listen, it is what it is right there. We're talking about cheating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen, I ain't getting paid to do this crap. So, a little bit different right there. All right. Towards the end of the show, Tim, you're going fishing Lake Allatoona or at Brushy Branch Saturday. I know you're not, but if you are, what are you doing?
Probably gonna start off with Topwater and then maybe a worm. Go with shaky head.
Go shaky head.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, what are you doing?
I'd start with the buzz bait as well, and I'd go with a shaky head and a wacky.
Yep.
Dave, what are you doing? Because you are going to be fishing
I
Saturday.
am going fishing Saturday. Spinner bait for just a little bit, and then it's going to be shaky head and drop shot.
And you're throwing that little
A little
the Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
Farmer says big swim bait searching for Mondo.
Mondo.
Yeah, I'm going wacky. You know, early in the morning, I might throw a buzz bait, but then I'm just going. I think you can catch all the fish you want right now with a wacky one, largemouth or spot. So, but basically things that we do year round anyway. Sounds like to me. I mean, confidence bait.
Yep.
One last question for you on that drop shot with that
Yep.
Demiki. Is that just a springtime heron spawn thing, or do you do that throughout the year in certain places?
I do it mostly on a heron spawn, but I also will do it at Gunnersville when the grass gets up. But I put like a 2.8 Kitech on it
Mm-hmm.
and work it through that way. One of the big keys to that too is when I'm on Lanier, I throw it on. I don't throw a lot of tungsten drop shot weights, but for that I throw tungsten drop shots because you can feel the bottom so much better. And I probably have found 5 or 6 more really good spawning areas because I was throwing tungsten
Felt that hard bottom.
on the hard bottom. Even after the spawn's over with, just hit the button twice on the graph and come back next year when they're wadded up and they'll be spawning right there.
Makes perfect sense. So, all right, guys, with that, we're going to call it an evening. Appreciate you guys joining us. A lot of stuff we talked about today. And guys, of course, as always, when you guys come up here, you do a fantastic job helping me out with the show. And you guys in the comment sections had it working tonight as well. If you're going fishing this weekend, number one, be careful. Number two, tell us what you're doing when we come back Tuesday night. Tuesday night, I got Kevin Underwood coming in, and we're going to be talking specifically about the heron spawn because he's seeing some of it on Lanier right now. And I want somebody to really break down a heron spawn and explain it. So if you guys get out on the water really quick here, you know, you'll know what to do. So Kevin Underwood, he's seeing that. So he'll be in. And then Thursday night, we got Jacob Walls.
Yep.
And then the week after that, I know Brooks Anderson is coming up. So we got some good guests, good local guests coming up. But anyway, guys, listen, if you're listening to this later on iTunes and Spotify, we love you guys as well, but appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We're trying to get to that 9,000 mark next. So just past 8,000. We just ran out of memory on our computer. So we timed this just perfectly. You ain't got to worry about it. Just hit DaVinci Resolve right there and force quit DaVinci Resolve right there at the top. Not Google Chrome. That'll cut us off. Yeah, go up to that DaVinci right there. Right there at the top above Google Chrome. Click on it.
Oh, that one.
That one. Yeah, force that quit. But anyway, guys, hey, that's the way it is when it's a live show and you're on
It still
computers.
won't quit.
It still
So,
don't work.
you got to cut it all out. So don't worry about that. Guys, hey, listen, we love you. We'll see you on the next one. Be safe this weekend.